Ugh. Ladies and gentlemen. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Rosie here, and I play Dead by Daylight, so you don't have to. Holy fucking shit, bruh. You know, I came into this, I looked at the timestamp and went, oh, this one's only like an hour and 30, 40 minutes. This one won't be so bad, right? Oh my fucking god, gamers. I don't think I've ever been as bored as I was during this one. Like, holy shit, this was such a fucking boring stream. I'd rather watch paint dry than this fucking crap, dude. Was that not rosy enough for you guys? Okay, let's see here. I'd rather watch a dog's fucking shit dry than watch this fucking shit. This was horrible. It's not even that it was that bad. It was just that, like, we really could not have gotten any more fucking the most vanilla people we possibly could to present this information. Like, holy shit, bruh. What a cast. P-Nitus, who is garbage. He's not very good. Justin, who is like the definition of white crackers. Like, these just like unsalted white crackers, bruh. And Patrick, who is by far the most competent dev that they have ever had in their history. Patrick continues to be amazing. Like, holy fucking shit. This man amazes me more every time he comes on. He comes on, cuts through the bullshit, slices and dices a Scott Jun argument like it's fucking cheese. He tears it up, dude. I love this guy. He's the best guy they have working for him. No one even can lick Patrick's jockstrap over there. Okay, Jesus. Like, you say, they'll stop licking behaviors balls, bro. Patrick is clearly the one making all the MMR based decisions over there. It's not. They don't even try to hide it in their streams. The man is insanely competent. He knows his shit. I think I read he was with Capcom before this. He's clearly the most educated guy that they have. Okay, so all of this good stuff I attribute to Patrick 100%. As everybody else just seems like they're 4 steps behind him. He really is the best guy that they have. Okay, so anyway, I think it's time, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, to watch the only Dead by Daylight Q&A stream that you need to bother with. Hello, friends. Rosie1990X here. Let's tear this fucking shit puppy apart like it's a dead shark in a Jaws movie, baby. Woo! I feel like I'm fucking Matt Hooper about to tear into this fucking garbage, dude. I think we'll find a suit of armor or a license plate in this fucking shit. Let's crack this fucking coke open. I'll have something stronger when we're done. All right, boys. Let's slide them up. As always, we cut out all of the fucking crap. There's no fucking cringy, stop it to post the head rush! Ah! You get it, guys! Head rush! Ah! Fucking awful, bro. No hen rush. No fucking cringe like that. When is Felix gonna lose his shirt, bro? When is he gonna take his shirt off? You know, all that, we're done. We're not doing that here. Every question here, my friends, is a question about the meta. It's a question about character reworks, important perks, the stuff you need to know for your Dead by Daylight journey going forward. And the hen rush can go fuck itself. Let's see what we got here. What's the first thing?
Patrick, do you want to talk to us about Circle of Healing?
Oh, positive start, bro.
I would love to talk to you about Circle of Healing.
Circle of Healing. Let's talk about Circle of Healing, ladies and gentlemen. The most OP problematic perk in the game right now. Circle of Healing, 100% healing speed. The reason I do this is so we can see if the devs completely missed the mark or not. Okay, so Circle of Healing, they create Circle of Jerking, Circle of Safe Space. They create 28 meters of refugee space that they can heal themselves 2 times faster than they can otherwise. Oh! Cool. They literally turn the game into a college campus with this perk. Oh my god, guys! The toxic problematic killer main is making my game unfun! Circle of Jerking, bruh. Circle of safe space. Jump right in and push the killers out. Oh, Jesus. So let's see if they miss the mark on that. The problem is they heal too fast. The killers then in turn can't apply adequate pressure to the map because the amount of heals are taking place too quickly. They section off too much of the map. They can't it's causing the survivors to be in control. They win all attrition wars. Twins can go fuck themselves. They win all attrition wars. They become unstoppable when this perk is set up. Let's see if they've missed the mark.
In the next patch. That's mostly what I have to talk about.
There you go!
Hey, look, numbers on the screen. That's great. Now I don't need to remember them. Bumping it down at Tier 3 from 100% down to 75%. Plan is to keep looking at how this performs with these reduced values, and we are absolutely willing to do it again if we deem it worthy.
Okay, so, conclusion. What do we think about that? Yeah, that's not gonna do jack fucking shit, Patrick. As much as I love you, my friend, that ain't doing jack fucking shit. The problem with this perk is that 75%, that's still way too fucking fast, bro. The way you gotta fix this perk, I think the ability to heal yourself without a medkit by itself with a medkit speed, that's the perk. Okay, if you want to have it 28 meters, that's the perk right there. That way, Sloppy Butcher can make it a nightmare to have to Sloppy Butcher can apply some healing slowdown. Nurse's Calling will be a thing in this game again, because the heals won't just be so fucking safe. Right now, the heals are too fucking safe. They can do them anywhere, and the hit economy of this game, it was not prepared for a perk of this magnitude. It just wasn't ready for it. So, the perk came in the game at a very bad time for it. This perk in particular, its area of effect is still too big. This one, not any other ones, this one needs a range reduction. They have too much safe space. This perk should be like 10 meters max. That way it's like 10 meter circle max. That way you have to commit to get to the circle of healing. So it's like, do I just want to heal without having to make the traverse across the map? Because you can pretty much section off over 100 meters of map space, and then they still heal 75% faster. This perk is still going to be O-fucking-P. Okay? Sloppy Butcher is like, it still doesn't hurt it very much. 75% bonus is still ridiculous. For that area of effect, it's ridiculous. Very strong perk. It's still broken. It's still broken. It's still meta. I still recommend, maybe you don't bring 4 of them anymore. Maybe you bring 2. I still think meta Swifts should be humping this perk like it's their fucking pillow and they're 15.
Awesome. Already answered my question. I don't even have to ask if it's not enough. So with that said, we also have grade rewards being increased for next month. Justin, do you
a grade rewards increase. Let's skip to where they actually show it, because I want to try to fucking keep this under 2 hours, but that's not going to happen. So there's your new grade rewards, okay? This is useless, doesn't do anything. It's basically, they mention this later. Right now, they say, is this a Band-Aid fix for the grind? And they flat out deny that, okay? But right now, that's what this is acting as. That's the unfortunate reality. You can tell me, you can sit there and say this isn't a Band-Aid fix for the grind, but unfortunately, right now in the game's current state, that's how these grade rewards are actually acting. They're a Band-Aid fix for a horrible grind, which has been in the game for years and keeps getting worse. Every fucking Q&A, they get asked about this fucking crap, which we'll get to that when we talk about the grind a little later, when it gets brought up again. The grind is terrible, okay? And this system, as okay as it is, this is still not going to appease people until that grind is fixed. Once the grind is better, this is going to be more appealing to the casuals, and maybe even us that need those perks in our builds as fast as possible. This will be a bit more appealing. But for right now, the fact that it's acting as the grind's Band-Aid fix, no, this doesn't impress me yet.
I think these new values that we've actually come up with are much more rewarding for players, and we're also...
Okay.
Questions, so if you're wondering how we pick them, that's how. So
next,
diving straight in. First question is from Kiss My Mutton, and they ask, will there ever be base kit borrow time or decisive strike to address
base kit borrow time and DS
tunneling and camping?
We have no plans to make decisive strike base kit.
Okay. I noticed you only mentioned decisive strike there. Do we have anything at all planned for base kit?
We have no plans to make decisive strike base kit.
Okay.
People are definitely going to pick that apart, but you know what? Good enough. So the next question comes from MX Zan.
Okay, so the immediate reaction of you as a killer main watching this is to go, no, that's ridiculous. They can't do that, or we have a serious problem. You already know that they can't do that, bro. But I will argue that is only in the game's current state that they can't do that. Okay? Borrowed time, I'm going to go ahead and say this, people. Borrowed time is low-key. It's not that it's weak. I'm not going to say it's weak. It's a meta perk. It's super strong. It's really good. You should be bringing it in every match. Okay? But when I'm looking at the glue that is holding Survivor together right now and is making their meta function and that's making their meta work, it's not borrowed time. But if you want to nerf Survivor right now, you got to nerf Dead Hard and the maps and the chase. The actual idea of the killer having to go out and chase. The reason that Pitch a Tent is meta right now is because of the fact that the survivors have complete control over the game. The gen speeds, the tiles, everything about the game is Survivor favored except one fucking thing. And that's that hook interaction. That's the only thing in the game that the survivors don't have 100% control over you. So, if we nerf a Dead Hard and we make chasing a more appealing concept, Pitch a Tent will no longer be meta, thus the killers will be inclined to go out, patrol, get more hooks, and we can stop Pitch a Tent from being meta. Once Pitch a Tent is no longer meta, a base kit borrow time doesn't help survivors very much, even if that's what they decide to do. Even if that's what they decide to do. Because you could do like Identity 5's, a Tide Turner. Identity 5's Tide Turner, I mean, obviously you wouldn't do the full Tide Turner, you would make it Dead by Daylight's borrow time. Like the first time you rescue somebody, then you give off a free base kit borrow time effect, and then the borrow time, the perk is just every time you save somebody, it gives off the borrow time effect. So like then the survivors would have 4 potential base kit borrowed, which in a Swift, that's completely enough to just shatter the balance of the game and stop any potential campers. Okay? So there you go. There's ways to make a weaker version of borrow time into the base kit and keep borrow time's functionality as a perk the exact fucking same. So there's potential ways to do that. And again, in an ideal fixed metagame, the camping killer is that's not that it may be rare because you got Bubbas, you got all these people in the world that do like to camp, and obviously hook trading would still be an appealing concept, and a base kit borrowed doesn't fix that. So camping's still okay, even if you add a kind of base kit borrowed feature. But what I'm trying to say is that in an ideal world, that shouldn't bother you, okay? It should be bothering you right now because Pitch a Tent is meta. If they do that, killer's fucked at the given moment, but we still got more stuff to talk about going forward, okay? So don't freak out over base kit borrowed. If that is what they decide to do, if they add a base kit borrow time and then they make borrow time the perk be like something stupid like shit. What if you make borrowed base kit? What do you do to borrowed? You could make it like you could make it like. Is there a perk besides Soul Guard that triggers it when you're slugged? You can make it like if you pick up a slug guy, then it gives that person borrowed without needing Soul Guard. There you go. That's what you can do with borrowed if you decide to make the full perk base. So they have options going forward here. Not the thing I wanted to be hearing in this Q&A, but they could potentially implement this without killing the game, is all I'm trying to argue here.
Who asks, when's Switch... Switching gears, we have a question from The King.
The King! Let's give it out for Dead by Daylight's biggest shield, baby! Whoop, whoop! Okay, he's not really... The casual's favorite creator, bruh, The King.
Boon totems be getting any changes? I can't read.
Boon totem changes, bruh.
Sorry, words are hard.
Fat fucking chance, kid!
Boon totems and their general mechanics aren't going to see any sweeping changes anytime soon. They're generally working as intended. They don't show, any significant signs of being overpowered or a problem. Again, overall,
yeah, it's the Circle of Healing.
About,
the only perk that actually broke the game was Circle of Healing. That Shadow Step one's kind of annoying, but other than that, the boons as a concept, they aren't really seeing much play. I don't think. Like, what? But what? When they put up a boon, what the fuck do you think it is? It's fucking Circle of Healing, dude. So there you go on that one. So they're not gonna change boons at all.
Right, and in that same vein, we are looking at each individual boon perk, and considering their individual balance.
Yeah.
The boons, the overall system, it's not going to see any major changes anytime.
And again, I really don't think you need to. Even that Unbreakable one, I haven't fucking seen one time playing the game, so I don't necessarily think that's the wrong thing. I just think Circle of Healing needs looked at more than it got. I think it needs looked at in a bigger way than the change it actually got. So there's that for you. But at the same time, it's also unfair to nerf the mechanic entirely because one perk is stupid. So all in all, decent. And I don't care much about that.
Yeah. So basically, keep an eye on them, but right now nothing's planned for that.
Bingo.
Okay. Next question comes from actually not a question.
Oh look, guys, the Hen Rush. Did you laugh, dude? Did you laugh? You ain't fucking Greg Gutfeld, that's for sure. You ain't fucking Jon Stewart. You ain't fucking Jeff Dunham. You ain't fucking Dave Chappelle. You ain't funny. Stop making jokes. Your jokes are bad. Stop making them. No one cares about the Hen Rush joke. It wasn't worth putting 525 likes. How much traction are your Q&As really getting? Well, what did they say? It was like the most upvoted one or some shit?
I'll just put it on screen, dude. I'll just put it. Okay, next question comes from actually, not a question. It's from Meme Dude. I'll just put it on screen.
No.
It was one of the most upvoted things.
It was one of the most upvoted things. 525 likes on Twitter. You guys aren't fucking nearly as cool as you think you are. It's like my friend Brewski says, nice clout, bro. 525, not bad. Not bad if you're 10. Jesus. Not if you're a fucking multi-million-dollar company that makes a game we all play and you only get 525? Like 525 responses? That's not very good, dude. One of the most upvoted ones, 525. There's that for you. I'm not going to say anything else. Terrible.
Cobra, who asked,
oh, this Deadly Cobra, this guy's a fucking toxic piece of shit. He's a fucking toxic piece of shit. You see him asking about fixing Dead Hard validation? Dead Hard validation is supposed to be about endless bullying, okay? It's about making one of the most OP perks in the game even more OP. Why would we fix that?
Are there plans to fix the issue of Dead Hard validation having adverse effects on certain killers' powers?
Plague! You ever use corrupt purge on a fucker with Dead Hard? Watch them dodge every fucking hit. Plague! Yeah, nice buff, sweetheart. You too bad Dead Hard validation's in the game.
Yeah, I mean, this is something we have to look at on a case-by-case basis with each power, so it's a little bit slow.
As soon as they get finished explaining this, we are going to just take a look at why exactly Dead Hard is so fucking broken.
Going. They're all on our radar, though. We are listening to what you guys are saying and calling these issues out.
Okay.
Very specifically, I can say things like the Blight's Rush attack and the Nemesis Tentacle attack and how those interface.
Yeah, Nemesis is pretty
it's not
bad.
as good as we want it to be, so we're looking at those individually, but yeah.
Nemesis is pretty rough.
Stuff like that.
Absolutely. Very similar follow-up question. I don't know if I can say this name on stream, but I'm going to say it anyway. Humperdinker asks, Hex Ruin was reworked because most killers used it in almost every match.
Facts.
Will Dead Hard be reworked?
Will Dead Hard be reworked, bro?
Yeah, I mean, yes, we are looking at Dead Hard. Right?
We are looking at Dead Hard. I want you fuckers that don't think MMR works to look at this game's history. Give me a historical argument that is infused with rank-based matchmaking that tells me that Dead Hard would have ever gotten looked at under rank-based matchmaking. Ever. No fucking way. They're reworking Dead Hard because of MMR. 100 fucking %. They're reworking Dead Hard because at high level, Dead Hard is fucking broken. And it's been broken for years. It's been broken for 4 years! And no one talked about it! Except the killer mains. And then the survivors were like, well, just read it, bruh. Just wait for it to come out. Yeah, and if there's a pallet there, then what do you do? Pretend your name is Michael Myers? And you're going to go wait for the Dead Hard to come out, and then they Dead Hard, there's a pallet there. Then what's the counterplay? Oh, your counterplay is, oh. That's your counterplay in that situation. Hope you have enduring, fucker. There's your counterplay, bro. If you can get 40% less of that stun on it if you slap on enduring, asshole. Yeah. Dead Hard is being reworked because of MMR. And if anyone doesn't think that, I don't know what you're smoking. What historical argument can you bring to the table? Oh, they touched things every once in a while. They fixed the god loops under the rank-based system, Rosie, so maybe they would have fixed Dead Hard. Yeah, fat fucking chance, kid. We've listened to Q&A after Q&A where they're like, we're not focusing on the exhaustion perks right now. They never gave a shit. The fact is, when they're looking at that high level, high MMR data, what do you think they see every fucking match as a killer player? I'll turn to your fair-mindedness. What perk do you see every fucking match when you're chasing somebody? When you're Legion, what the fuck do you go up against? 4 fucking Dead Hards! When you're anybody, what the fuck you be playing against, bro? 4 fucking Dead Hards. Every fucking time. And it's broken because this game is fundamentally balanced around the concept of 2 health states. Which, when you have Dead Hard acts, its role in your kit is not to dodge an attack, except in very, very, very specific situations. And even then, even when you're using it to dodge an attack, it's still serving its primary function as being a 3rd health state in a game fundamentally balanced around 2. So what? Even when you have 2 health states, the game isn't balanced. But so when you're taking every survivor and adding a 3rd health state to them, how does that change killer powers? I'll ask Legion. Hey Legion, what does it do for you? Oh, what's that, Frank? You don't have a power now. You're just running around chasing people 115, that's your power? Wow. Hey, Ghosty boy, how does that affect your power? Oh, if they're injured and you get the jump on them, they Dead Hard and then they're set up for the chase that you can't do? That? Dead Hard breaks the game, pure and simple. It's been the best exhaustion perk for years. The devs have ignored it until now because of your good old friend skill-based matchmaking. But yeah, let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of skill-based matchmaking. It's not doing anything for the game, bruh. You're enduring the hard times now so Dead Hard can go away. So the Gen Rush meta can go away. So the tiles you don't like can go away. That's why you're doing this. Never forget that.
It's a particularly tricky one because some of the friction with this perk comes from the design, and some of it comes from the network and the technical implementation. Anytime you have something that's extremely time sensitive, I can't speak either, in an online game, like reacting and dodging a hit, you end up with something that can be negatively impacted by latency, network conditions, stuff like that. So we need to come at Dead Hard from both the design side and from the technical side, but that also means it's going to take a while to kind of unravel it and get it to a place that everybody is happy with.
I already see there's some people happy in chat about that.
Okay, so basically, I don't even know if this Dead Hard change is going to come this year because of how tricky and technical it is to implement. Okay? Oh, I don't think they're done yet.
I guess the other question is, what aspect of Dead Hard are we really thinking about changing? Are we thinking about changing the way people use it for distance, or are we thinking more about the way people use it to dodge a hit?
Yeah, I mean, on the technical side, we're definitely looking at the hit dodging, how that functions, how the players experience it, how you get feedback, right? How you know that hit got dodged, stuff like that. There's already some changes coming, I believe, in the upcoming patch. Touching on the validation of it. It was in the PTB. From a game design side, we're definitely looking at it specifically in regards to the speed boost and how that can activate regardless of you dodging a hit. You know, it gives it a little bit too much utility beyond what we want Dead Hard to do. So that's another aspect. I don't have anything specific to say about what we're doing there, but those are like the high level aspects that we're investigating right now.
The high level aspects that they're investigating right now. Thanks to MMR, they can investigate those high-level utilities of Dead Hard. They can get more consistent data where they're seeing high-level dead hard used. Not that it was rocket science. I could fucking tell you why that perk needed changed. And I'm sure you, having played the game for 3 weeks, can tell them why that perk needed change. But that's not how these people work. Like, you're sitting here like being like, Rosie, the MMR sucks, bro. My games suck. Yeah, your games suck. Because the issues of Dead by Daylight are now problems you have to deal with. Doesn't that suck? People like me have been warning you about these problems for years. And like, because we had bad matchmaking, you could sort them off to the wait side. Not that the matchmaking right now is good, but Jesus. The kill rates fell. The kill rates fell. What the fuck does that tell you? The kill rates dropped. I don't know what that tells you, but I know what it tells me. We're making progress. The kill rates dropped. The killers are losing now. Finally. Right? I can't get fucking sloshed, drunk till I throw up and beat survivors anymore. We're not asking for a fully accurate MMR system that would kill Dead by Daylight because every game is Swift. Not that every game feels like Swift right now, still. But the facts are that in the old system, I could drink, dude. I could drink and not only win, but not even close at rank 1. This new system, I've attempted Drunk by Daylight 1 time. You won't get away with it. The survivors will win if you are not playing 100%. They will beat you. They will beat you bad. They will make you look like a piece of crap if you aren't playing 100%. The matchmaking system is working. They are looking at this stuff now because it's now more relevant. It's more relevant because it's happening more. That's why this is important. You have to deal with this shit now so in the future it's not as bad.
All right, exciting stuff. Next question comes.
This would not have happened if we did not win the MLR fight. It's already benefiting everybody. And it will be benefiting. Once this Dead Hard change gets in, I don't think survivors even understand just how much Dead Hard does for them. When you strip them of that perk and every chase is going to be 2 hits again, you have no fucking idea how much that is going to improve the killer roll. Even with the tiles that are already in the game. Like, even with the tiles that are there right now, if you can fundamentally knock the balance of the game back down to 2 hits, you will be very, very shocked at what that will do. And you heard it here first. Once that change comes in, Keystone viability increases significantly. Wanting to leave the hook increases significantly. That is a change that you can thank skill-based matchmaking for. I promise.
From Ots Darva.
Oh boy,
asks,
more content creator
streamer mode,
shills.
perk loadout saving, more settings in custom games. Can we expect these quality of life changes anytime soon?
So what did he just ask?
Settings in custom games. Who asks, streamer mode, perk loadout saving, more
Streamer mode, who cares about that? Perk loadout saving is a good idea.
settings in custom games. Can we expect
And
these
then
quality of
custom
life changes
loadout.
anytime soon?
Loadout saving is the most important one there.
So some of these are definitely coming sooner than later. I don't want to give too much hope on when, but like we're looking at a laundry list of these and some similar quality of life features for the future. And
That's
should
11
have
o'clock,
more
isn't
to
it?
reveal in the near to mid future, I'll say.
Well, what do you know?
Yeah.
More to reveal later. Classic behavior.
So Chris asks, what happened to the early game mechanic you announced in the 4th anniversary stream?
Now, we've covered this question quite a lot. I believe this is the second time in a Q&A we've covered it, but I just want to keep covering this one because I want people to know. I want everybody to know that this is not happening. So, I'm going to keep, every time that gets brought up for like the next year, I'm going to keep covering it. It's somehow not widespread. This is how great the devs are at communication. It's still not 100% know that this mechanic isn't happening.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this one last time we were on a Q&A, but I'll repeat it so everybody gets to know. It's not a secret. The short answer is that it's not going to happen. We're not doing it. The longer answer, which I will still keep relatively brief, is that we talked about adding an additional mechanic to the start of the game, but after discussions internally with the design team and going through a few prototypes, there wasn't any direct improvements to the game. It actually made it worse. People weren't having fun. It was frustrating. So we kind of scrapped the idea. It wasn't a good idea based off of our playtest. That said, some of those ideas have been recycled into other prototypes, and those are seeing some traction. So there will be something. There's more. We are prototyping more things, just not an early game scenario like people have been talking about.
Yeah. One of those, I will add an additional detail from the last Q&A that was not repeated here. Those ideas, some of those early game mechanic ideas have been implemented into the Mmr mechanic that is coming to the game, which means that Mmr mechanic is now very important. That's something you got to keep your eyes on. I can't believe nobody bothered to ask about that, because that is probably the most important feature we're going to get this year, whenever we fucking get it. Maybe the anniversary, who knows though, we'll have to wait and see. But that Mmr mechanic is now super important for Dead by Daylight, because of the fact that some of those early game ideas, we know that they're in there. So we'll definitely see about that in the future, but the early game mechanic not happening, unfortunately.
Sad reality to sharing things sooner like that is that sometimes they don't make the cut.
Exactly.
So it's a big part of the reason why we don't give ETAs super early on. Next question comes from Jessica Ravane, who asks, would it be possible to change the SBMM system to be more skill-based and not based on kills and escapes? I know you could talk about this all day, so I'm going to cut you off if it goes too long.
Yeah, I've got
all right.
here, but I'm definitely...
This is where the fun starts, ladies and gentlemen. But basically, what Patrick decides to do right now with this response he's about to give, okay, he takes his fucking dick out of his pants, he lubes it up, and he strikes Scott Junn right in the fucking face with it. That's what he does here. He destroys Scott Junn so fucking bad. This entire section is there because Junn and his fucking fellow content creator, fog whisperer cronies have been shoving this idea into people's throats. Okay? So basically, Patrick decided to get on the stream today and end Scott Junn's entire fucking career. Because that's what he does here. He fucking destroys the man. He makes Scott Junn look like the dumbest fucking guy on planet Earth. And you know it was bad, but you know it was bad because like 2 hours after fucking Junn got done with his reaction, he fucking had a video response because he was butthurt. A video response, which, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, I got a bit of extra for you. You think I wasn't covering that? Come on, bro, this is Rosie. We got that video coming right up for you. First of all, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to let Patrick go off, and we're going to let him explain. Until I have something to add, of course. Patrick is going to give his response first, and then as soon as this question, like, kind of goes away, we will switch over to fucking Scoot and his fucking clown-ass response, his half-ass clown response that he clearly made in a butthurt fit of rage because, I don't know, maybe Jen Denise is out for the weekend. I'm not sure, dude.
Trying to keep it brief, so I'll please understand I am simplifying some things here. Don't read too much into every detail I'm saying. I'm trying to keep this brief. But there's a common misconception that by using just kills and escapes to adjust your MMR, it's ignoring in
quotes. That pissed Scott off, by the way.
This isn't the truth, though. This is false.
This is false.
Kills and escapes.
It's absolutely 100% a false notion that Scott Junn has crammed in this community's asshole. Okay? It's 100% false. It's bullshit. If you know anything about anything, you can see why that's crap.
Are proxies for skill. In that kills and escapes are proxies for skill.
Absolutely.
In that skilled play inherently leads to kills or escapes.
That is absolutely 100%
sports,
correct.
And I'll use hockey as an example because I'm Canadian. You wouldn't say they only count wins when placing teams in the standings, but they should also count shots on goal too. A more skilled player takes more shots. And while that's certainly true, it's important to remember that shots lead to goals, which lead to wins. So you can kind of cut the middleman.
Absolutely.
And that's the key, right? Skilled play leads to wins. If they don't, are they really skilled plays? Right? If your skilled play doesn't get you to win, was it really a skilled play in the first place? Everything leads to the same place in DBD. killing survivors or the survivors escaping alive. That's what MMR predicts.
Yes.
The chances of the killer killing survivors or them escaping alive.
Yes.
And it is actually very good at doing that.
Yes.
However, we're looking at some improvements to the current system. An example to...
And the system does need improvements. It does. I've never sucked their cock on this regard. A lot of people think I'm this behavior. I have stuck up for them a lot more in this particular aspect. But this system does need improvements, particularly the one he's about to say.
Is to take team results into account
Yes.
for survivors in addition to the personal results. This takes some time. We have to iterate on. There's lots of fun math, which I could again talk about forever. But we need to prove it out that it's working, that there's value in it, and correlations, so on. More details on that more details on skill-based matchmaking in general are actually in our last dev blog post as well.
Okay. We have a similar question, not directly similar, but pretty close.
Let's keep on.
From Jeff Philippe, who asks, why don't hooks count towards your rating?
Why don't, excuse you, P-Nitus, why don't hooks count towards you rating?
A great example of what I was just talking about a minute ago.
This is a wonderful
specific case that we did consider and look at and think about quite a bit. The thing with counting hooks is that you end up with weird cases that don't make sense.
This is what he's about to explain is what I went over in my we know what the win condition of Dead by Daylight is now because of the way they phrased it, and Dave Richards explained this in an interview. We know what the win condition is now. And if there was ever an end to the debate, this man flat out says that they've picked the win condition here.
Take it to its extremes. Say you're a killer who hooked every survivor twice, but none of them died.
Yes.
If you count those hooks towards your rating, then you can easily end up in a situation where that scenario counts as a win.
Yeah.
Like moves you up the standings.
Like we did in the previous system.
But that feels weird. Did
Yes.
you really win? Should your rating go up? And
Absolutely
make you face
not.
Stronger opponents, even though
You lost. If they get out, you lost, fuckhead. You're a loser. L. You lost. I have the survivors. If you died, you lost. You're not entitled to free MMR for existing. That's what people like is doing a generator a skillful action. The devs already acknowledge that the gens should never fly. Like the killer should never be able to hold all 5 gens. That's something that they've said over and over again. So does that? And if you make completing a generator an action that goes up in MMR for survivors, that means the survivors just get free points for existing. They get free MMR by sitting there. Okay? Now, yeah, that can still kind of happen in the new system if they get particularly carried. I think those cases are very few and far between. From what I've noticed, especially at the higher MMRs, everybody's good. So you don't really see cases like that. That's that mid-low kind of stuff where nobody gives a fuck about their MMR anyway. But it's way less consistent that's happening now.
oh, all of the survivors got out alive.
Yes.
Probably not, right? That's like an
You lost.
moment.
You're a loser.
Yeah, it doesn't really compute. It also doesn't make sense for the survivors. If you call that a killer win, that would mean the survivors
That they lost.
But they all got
But they
out
all
alive.
escaped.
So that feels weird to call that a loss on the survivor side, unless you start saying that everybody in that situation wins. And then as soon as you can have everybody in a game winning, you get some really weird math, some really crazy stuff.
You've saw some participation trophies. The killer got all the hooks they needed, so their MMR goes up, and all the survivors escaped. Everybody MMR go up. Participation trophies for everybody. What in the liberal fuck did I just hear? Like, what the fuck? Is that what you want, Scott? Where everybody wins and we all just hand out free trophies for everybody because they were there? Is that what you want, bro? No.
Happening really, really fast. So that's part of why we boil it down to kills and escapes as a proxy for good play in the game. It solves all those problems.
Yes.
And it solves a whole bunch of other ones that I'm just not going to get into now because I think we have like 1 or 2 other questions to get into.
Yeah, one of the trickiest parts of a system like this is that you need a clear win and loss.
You need a clear
if both
win
sides
and
can
loss.
you end up in a situation where ranks just endlessly climb, and then eventually the matchmaking system can't really give you a match.
Correct. That's what was happening before.
Like some astronomical rate.
Everybody had rank 1 status that shouldn't have been there. So that's what was happening before. P-Nitus said you need a clear win and loss system for this to work. There's your win and loss system. It's the kills and the escapes. That's it. Shut the fuck up. Put your binkies in and shut the fuck up. That's what we're doing. You don't like it? Get the fuck out. Go away. Go play something else. All right, next. There's another argument before we tackle Scoot's video, because that's next. Before we tackle that, I want to discuss something that was previously said here. When Patrick was discussing skill play, first of all, Patrick's the best guy they have. The man is great. He lubed up his cock and shoved it in Scott's ass. Completely destroyed. Scott was completely annihilated there. Scott and his anti-MMR cronies, done. They should never be listened to ever again on this topic. So let's go ahead and listen to Scott on this topic. But, he's done. He's dead. Patrick ended him. He ended him like Van Helsing staked Dracula. It's over. It's over. That's what they're doing. You don't like it, get off. Stop. You're done here. Remember that shit you all used to say to me back in the day? Here it is. Coming right back at you now. Get off if you don't like it. This is the way we're doing it because this is what's better. Okay? Now, when Patrick was talking about skill play, I think this is what pisses people off. Okay? This is what makes people so fucking mad. Especially when it comes to killer MMR and your survivors. Especially in the pitch attempt meta. Skilled play doesn't necessarily take skill. I'm just going to say it. Okay? That's what people don't like. The fact that skilled play doesn't take skill. This is not just true in Dead by Daylight. This is true in other games too. Let's turn to Smash. Okay? Guess who I played in Smash? I played Ness. Okay? I had a friend in quotes, his gamer tag was Blue Woko, and he played Roy in Smash 4. So, and Roy kind of became a little bit more brain dead in Ultimate, but in Smash 4, Roy, he wasn't very good, so he kind of had a high skill ceiling. You had to know how to play him, had to know how to master his movements and inverse hitboxes in particular. Kind of a skilled character. He had some tight combos, some very good ledge traps, some tight combos. You had to have a particularly good neutral game if you were going to play Roy. Okay? So that's who he played. And guess what? I will always admit that he was a technically better player than me. That man had more skill than me. But guess what? That didn't matter. Do you know why? Because Ness would come in, PK fire, PK fire, PK fire. And Roy's a fastballer, so he would take more damage, get grabbed, offstage PK Thunders would edge guard the shit out of him, and then he was dead. Like, it was easy. It was very easy to PK fire him because Roy's neutral's bad. Ness's neutral isn't good either, but Ness still has the range advantage, and Ness has a good nair and a good forward air to kind of keep him at a distance, especially with his inverse hitboxes. Like, the better player will lose that because Ness is easy, and Ness wins the matchup. Because Ness wins the matchup, especially in 4, and Ultimate it's a little more even because Roy's just a better character, but in that game, Ness destroys Roy, and less skilled players can use skilled plays as their character to defeat opposition that are more skilled than them. Welcome to the fucking world, buddy! Like, bitch, in what world do you think that your system is what the one we should go with? Where everybody playing perfectly 100% captures their skill. There's no system like that. And for you to ask Dead by Daylight system to be that is absolute crap! Because it's not realistic. Okay? So skilled play doesn't take skill. A skilled bubble play may be to fucking face get the hook rather than your chainsaw. That's what skilled bubble might be. Skilled trickster might be to throw all your knives. And make sure you hit everybody. You know? And in a certain situation, it doesn't require skill to defeat more skilled opponents because of the inherent differences in the toolkits between killers and survivors. And for you to ask a system to completely 100% address every single situation is bullshit. Kind of like when you press the X button on your dead hard, and then you dead hard over, and the killer main is 4 times better than you, still gets the pallet in his face. You see what I'm talking about? Like, are you going to say that the survivor had a bad dead hard because they're a bad player? Bad players can use dead hard to beat killers better than them. Welcome to the world! That's the game we play. That's the world we live in. That is what we are as a community. Okay? And every game has situations like that. Fucking Superman and Injustice would spam lasers, and like Joker couldn't do anything about that. So a Superman that had relatively decent fundamentals could beat some of the best Jokers out there. A good Superman and a good Joker will always result in the Superman winning because of the inherent differences between the two characters. That's just how it is, bro. You cannot change that. And for you to ask a system to do that, I get it. It's frustrating. I completely get it. It sucks when Cloud in Smash 4, this fucking Cloud would just have his limit and kill you with 70 with his fucking cross slash when you were 4 times better than him. Yeah, it sucks. Sorry. That's the game we played, bro. There was a lack of maturity in this community, and that is why you ignore it. Because this is a community, especially on the Survivor ends, that you will never appease. Appeasing survivors is akin to appeasing the woke mob. It just won't happen. They will always say you're not doing enough. They will never say the system is good. They will never say that. No matter what they do, no matter how many nerfs happen to Dead Hard, no matter how many times they want to rework characters, buff the twins, buff Legion, buff Ghostface, nerf Circle of Healing, even though it was an attempt. They're gonna nerf Dead Hard. They will never say it's good enough. They will never admit that things are better. Even some MMR detractors admit that the system is better right now than the old ranking system. Not even when you're comparing the old MMR, the MMR system to what we used to have, it's night and fucking day. And you don't even have an argument for that. You don't. It is insane. It is just insane. Okay, so that's my 2 cents on why people get so mad on why skill, they think that everything the killer does should be super skillful if the killer wants to win, when that's just not realistic. Let's go ahead and turn to a man who is bleeding from the rectum right now. He is bleeding. He is so mad. Behavior really does not understand player skill. He is so mad about this because Patrick is basically Rosie incarnate over there at Behavior. He's basically Rosie walking around over there. I think he subconsciously knows that. He knows that that's me. That video, that when Patrick was talking to him, that is exactly what I would say to him. And he knows that. He absolutely 100% knows that. Okay? So basically, Scott John goes into immediate defense mode. Same thing after Otz's Streak Sport attack, he did the same thing, if anybody remembers. He half-heartedly, in a fit of rage, uploads a video to defend his point that was just attacked, and he looked incredibly dumb in front of all of his fucking fanboys. So, he felt the need to respond. Now, this is a 13-minute video. Only about half of it is relevant to this conversation. He goes into something later something about maybe it's kind of what I was just saying. Something about what would happen if the devs ever figured out. I didn't watch that part. I only wanted to watch this particular part because he got so mad at Patrick that he almost loses it on camera, it looks like. Let's check it out.
Entire Q&A as a separate video, but that's not going to be edited or a discussion. It's just going to be my stream, basically, if you want to look at that. So I wanted to focus on this part because I thought this was particularly alarming how much...
It's particularly alarming how much the Rosie mindset's beginning to exist over at Behavior. Yeah, isn't it, Scott? Doesn't it seem like they're not listening to you anymore? Kind of weird, isn't it? It's good that you are being ignored. It really is. I still am in utter shock. And people wonder about... I've attacked Behavior in this stream. I'm going to keep attacking them in this stream. They do say some dumb things. But, I think I've been shocked about, the amount of faces and heel turns that have been taking place here. Okay? Because basically what happened, throughout this entire thing, the devs turned babyface, which is odd. Scott Junn's a career heel, as we all know. True Talent's turned heel. Dowsy's turned heel. All these guys that we thought were decent, they've all turned heel. And then they've also flipped on each other's positions. Scott Jund turned heel on kills and hooks. Otz turned heel on kills and hooks. Now they're saying that kills matter. True's starting to play the slug game, so True's turned babyface in that regard. There's a lot of flips going around right now. There's a lot of faces and heel turns you got to keep track of in this community right now. If you're a player that values common sense, because common sense is kind of split between these people. You have to really pick. And I think it's really, really interesting that as Scott Junn's about to have an aneurysm trying to defend hooks here, it was really interesting back in the day when True Talent was the one defending hooks. Does anybody remember this? True Talent tried to save this game from becoming what it is right now. And this guy and Otz were like, nah, bruh, it's fine. Yeah, it was fine under shit matchmaking. Then MMR's here, and guess what? Guess what? It's not possible for the killer to get those hooks anymore. And so now Otts and Scoot are telling you to go. Well, now the hooks are a better measure of health. The hooks are better, bro. Now they're all clamoring for you to go get the fucking hooks. And True's like, if you need the slug, you got a slug, bro. True tried to stop this. I'm still in the department that you need to fucking win. Those kill rates are now everything because that's the win condition. So you have to get those kills. You have to get them now. It's now more important than ever. You need kills. But anyway, that all out of the way. Let's get into this as we listen to Scott half-heartedly attempt to attack Patrick for being smarter than him.
They sort of seem to be ignoring what everyone says is the actual indicator of skill, and they believe they've identified the correct thing. But let's just go over the main.
That's always how the devs have been. Isn't it frustrating to be on the other end of that? Isn't that frustrating? To be on the other end of the devs' ear. The devs have turned to us, the competitive, the more high level. The devs have turned over here to us. They've shunned you. They've kicked you out. You're the guy they used to listen to. You're the guy that's washed up, bruh. Go back to Dark Souls if you don't like it, bruh.
Argument that he makes, at least in this first section. He says, like, there's a common misconception that because MMR is based on kills and escapes, it is ignoring the skill of players. This is false.
But there's a common misconception that by using just kills and escapes to adjust your MMR, it's ignoring skill in the game. This isn't the truth, though. This is false.
The first thing that rubbed me wrong about this is the way he goes ignoring. Like, he's saying it's not actually ignoring it, you idiots. Like, it actually is.
Like, Scott Jun is the place to go for respectful discussion on Dead by Daylight. Like, that's the thing. This man is faker than Nicki Minaj's ass. That's all I gotta say about that fucking shit. This man is the fakest content creator on the internet. He's fake. He's 100% fake. He's garbage. Okay? So, like, for him to, like, attack Patrick for using quotes, I find that completely ridiculous. This man is condescending. He's rude to even his own commenters. He's just not, you can tell he just, he repels me. He repels me, dude. He literally makes me feel like I got snakes crawling up my spine. Like, God. He's just so fake. And I went to Catholic school. I can know who's fake right off the bat. I can tell if you're fake in 2 seconds. Starva, fake. Scott Jun, fake. True Talent, real. Coconut, real. Terrico, real. You can tell who's fake and who's not. King is fake. You can tell, bruh. You can tell.
Taking that into account. So he's saying ignoring, like, ironically. It's not actually ignoring it. But literally the last stream they just did, he literally
Look how mad he is. Remember when people criticize me for getting too angry? You can tell he's, like, frothing at the mouth here, bro.
I know that you died. It's ignoring how you got there because there's too much nuance to be able to make a real effective system. So we just ignore that.
So he just said, non-jokingly, it is ignoring how you died because there's too much nuance for it to be a very effective system. And then today, they were just saying that there's a misconception that, it's ineffective at determining skill. This is false. It's just immediately contradicting himself. But
okay. Now, there's 2 possible defenses for this. Number 1, okay, these guys are going in. They're like me. They're not scripted. I mean, Patrick said, don't pick this apart. I'm just paraphrasing. His last stream was 4 months ago, whatever. He probably didn't have time to look it up. However, he's looking into every phrasing difference between Patrick here and now. I don't think Patrick's opinion on this has changed at all. Okay? I don't think his opinion on that the skill-based matchmaking system does determine skill through the kills in these games. I believe that is his opinion now, and I also believe that was his opinion on the last stream. Okay? I think he phrased it poorly then. I think he phrased it better this time. Okay? So let's kind of go back again and kind of take another stab at what he was saying.
So that's enough.
Let's see.
Survivors or the survivors escaping alive. That's what MMR predicts. The chances of the killer killing survivors or them escaping alive. And it is actually very good at doing that. However, we're looking at some improvements to the current system. An example to take, we have to iterate on. There's lots of fun math, which
where is that
in
code?
place in DBD. killing survivors or the lead to goals. Really trying to keep it brief, so I'll.
I don't know where it is. He basically just says like
much saying it's not actually ignoring it, you idiots. Ignoring
maybe they'll
how you
play it
died
here.
because there's conception that it's very much of the opinion that because kills have a correlation to skill, and I can agree with that. Typically, if you kill more people than you don't, the correlation is there that you're probably better. Doesn't mean you are better, but probably you are better, maybe. But that doesn't really determine skill. And then he brought up this terrible analogy involving hockey.
The analogy that Patrick brings up, he basically what Patrick says is like they don't. The thing I'm looking for before, there's a clip. I will timestamp it in the comments when I find it. I'll look for it some other time. I want to keep getting this rolling. He basically just says that it's not that you're ignoring it. It's that it doesn't like it's implied that it's there. Okay, that it's not being ignored. The system is implying that it's there. Whether you agree with that is your own interpretation, but like the system, it's not ignoring it so much as that the result is proof enough that that play was made and that the play was skillful.
And I'll just let him say it.
Think about sport.
Now this analogy here is something that I've been saying in a different form. So I'll let him repeat it and I'll listen, and then we'll deal with Jundy here in a second.
And I'll use hockey as an example because I'm Canadian. You wouldn't say they only count wins when placing teams in the standings, but they should also count shots on goal too. A more skilled player takes more shots. And while that's certainly true, it's important to remember that shots lead to goals, which lead to wins. So you can kind of cut the middleman out there. And that's
There,
the key.
yeah, you can see, there you go. I think that might have been what I was looking for. You can cut the middleman out, kind of. That's what he said. You can kind of cut the middleman out. That's what I was looking for before. It's not that it's the system's ignoring that. It's that in order to get the best possible system we can compute as human beings, you are free to kind of cut that middleman out of the system's analysis for the sake of simplicity and getting a system that's feasible and working to a degree enough that it's not the ranking system. That's what he means.
Right? Skilled play leads to wins.
So this analogy is based on the false premise that you are playing and being rated MMR-wise as a team. According to the data miners, and even when they talked about MMR the last time, we know that's not how it's being done. We know it's
Okay.
a 1v1v1v1v1 kind.
That's true, Scott. That's true. But what did Patrick also say about improvements that they were trying to make to the system? That they're going to make it team-specific MMR. That they were going to take the team result into account when computing your MMR, bro. Which I think he does actually go into. Which I think he then admits that would be better.
Thing. They've admitted that's how it works. So his comparison of a hockey team does not apply to an MMR system where you are still individually rated. By his own logic, if you are the guy that's taking 8,000 slap shots at the goal and, you're getting a shit ton of goals.
I think what's happening right here is Scott is reading way too hard into this analogy. What would Scott have done if Patrick said in Street Fighter, or no, I don't know Street Fighter, in Smash Bros, let's turn back to Smash. If you, as a Pac-Man player, get a 0 to 60% combo with your Galaxian, does that mean your MMR goes up? No. You still lost, fucker. If you lost the match, the game is not going to reward every 0 to 60 combo that you do with your Galaxian. The game is not going to reward every ledge trap that you did with your apples and your melons. It's not going to reward it because you lost the game. And no system should be forced to reward that. Because that's just grounds for assholes to come in and just say, well, it doesn't do that, so it sucks. That's what it's expecting an insane amount of unrealistic expectations. Like no system ever will meet those expectations ever. So what should we do, Scott? Should we just not have a system? Or should we try in our best ability to create one that doesn't break the game? Not to say this one didn't break the game, but the game is just broken in and of itself. So he's coming at Patrick's analogy from all the wrong angles. He's reading way too deep into it, and just like, well, it's a team, bro. Okay, obviously we know that the survivors' team need to be taken into account. We've acknowledged that. Okay, I think Patrick acknowledged, I don't know if he acknowledges that before or after this comment, but yeah, Scott, we know, we got it, we're working on it. Hey, Scott, we got it, bruh. Scott, we know. That was like the first fucking problem I said with the system. Like, we know this. Like, we know all of this already, Scott. Like, why did you bother wasting our time? Because your butt hurt? Is that why you bothered to do this? Like, he's attacking Patrick's analogy from the standpoint that it's the team, bro. What he's doing here is he's dodging the real argument that Patrick is making. Okay? And he's dodging it well. Like, all his fans are going to love that. He is dodging the real argument, which is, like, you do not deserve rewards for participation. You deserve rewards for the results that you get. No fighting game reward systems, no trading card game, no one rewards your play in the game. That is a shit fucking take. That the system should do that. That's a shit take. It's a very, very bad take, and a take that will bring us back to the horror days of the fucking ranking system, where the killers have to play like shit in order to work with a system that it isn't designed to go with how they function. And this is why we can just like laugh at the horrible design. Like, what the fuck was Plague supposed to do in the previous system? Like, what? Like, how is she supposed to play that? She can play this one a lot better. So she's seeing more play. Weird. She got buffs and the system doesn't punish her anymore. She's seeing play now. Weird. She's getting more kills now. Weird. The system will punish individual killers if they don't play exactly like how the system wants, leading to repetitive garbage character design. It's just, ugh. It's so many fucking problems. So Scoot here is dodging Patrick's real argument. What the hell is he supposed to do? He's on the losing side. All he can do is dance around like he's fucking working for Abby Lee Miller. That's all he can do. He can't do anything else. Like, I feel bad for the kid. He's up shit creek without a paddle. He can't fight that argument. Scotchun cannot fight that argument with the toolkit at his disposal. His tiny brain cannot fight that argument. The toolkit he's working with, which is anti-MMR, cannot deal with that argument. He can't fight that argument, so he has to dance. Oh, I guess it's been a while since I've seen the sunshine, since I have smiled. That's Scott. He's Maddie Ziegler, bro. That's what he's doing right now. He's fucking winning nationals, screwing Chloe out of any real recognition. That's what he's doing!
You are now as good as somebody that is on the bench because you're on the same team. Your team is still winning. Therefore, the guy on the bench who has done nothing is definitely as good as this guy who did everything.
No, that's not what's happening. What's happening is their MMR is going up. That's what's happening. So if the guy on the bench still has a lower MMR than the guy who also went up because he looped the killer for 6 gens, you can write, maybe a bad match. Maybe it was a backfill lobby. Maybe he got a little bad lobby. The guy put in a little extra work. So his MMR goes up, and then the guy on the bench's MMR goes up, and then the guy on the bench will be back to his low-level games the next time. Whatever. Shit happens. You win some, you lose some, move on. You'll get a bad game from time to time. It's not like every game was bad in the previous system.
And that's actually a direct one-to-one comparison because
How?
you can literally be on the bench as a survivor. You can do nothing.
If you start a match with 1200 MMR, and the other guy starts the match with 1700 MMR, and your MMRs go up by 30, how is that a one-to-one? You're at 1230, he's at 1530 or 1430, whatever I said. It's not a one-to-one. Your MMRs are still distinct. The game doesn't think you're as good as each other. You probably got a backfill. Happens. What do you want to do about it? What do you want to do about it, Scott? What do you want to do about it? You need to stop bitching and advocate for solutions like I used to do when I used to bitch. You don't bitch correctly and it pisses me off. I'm going to bitch about your bitching and then I already advocated your solution. You need to advocate for solutions. What the fuck you want to do, Scott? You want to keep jerking your dick off? Is this free content for you? Is this getting your paycheck, buddy? Is bitching about this getting you more money?
And still get an escape. And the guy that ran the killer for 6 hours, he is now...
Not like in the previous system, which if you did 2 gens and then made one save while the guy was looping the killer, then you definitely ranked up and put as much effort into it. Like, what the fuck you want to do, Scott? What do you want to do about it? The ball is now in your court. The rest of us, when we were complaining about why the emblem system was bad, we were advocating for MMR for a reason. What the fuck do you want to do about it? Stop bitching and offer us something.
You're now as good as him because you were just on the same team as someone that did better than you. That's the main flaw in his argument. It's a giant glaring flaw.
A giant glaring flaw? No, it's not. It's not a giant glaring flaw at all. We already disproved what you're saying. In fact, it's not a 1-to-1 ratio because the game doesn't think you're as good as that person. It just means you're gaining MMR for winning the game in a likely backfilled match.
Not how their system works. The system is based on individual survivor ratings, not your overall team rating. And if they ever change it to an overall team rating, I'm not sure how that would work because they calculate MMR as soon as the game is done and for an individual player. They would have to calculate it after the match is over, which means your MMR would be adjusted after the match, after a delay for it to calculate all that, which I feel like they're not going to do that. But
why do you think they're not going to do that? They've already said that they're interested in doing the right thing in making it team-based. So if your team wins, then your MMR goes up even if you die. They've already said that they're willing to do that. Why do you think that they're not going to do that? Like, what makes you think they are not going to do that? I said this the previous time where you're talking about they're not actually going to do MMR. Like, how do you fucking know? They did it.
if they do that, I mean, that'd be great. But
if they did do it, that would be great. And that's everything you need to know. Talk about contradicting. People said Patrick was contradictory in his statements. Talk about contradictory. So there, Devs. There you go. Scott proposed you a solution. Just do the thing we were all advocating for when the game came out, and the MMR system came out in the game. And then we said we should probably make it team-based. You know what I'm saying? We all said that. Well, there you go. That thing we were all saying. The thing that Roadrunner was saying 3 months ago. Wile E. Coyote's here, bruh. He caught up. Beep, beep. He's here, guys. Better late than never. There's still a little bit of steak left. I ate most of it, Scott. I ate most of it, but there's a little bit over there. You can have my crumbs. There's a little bit of steak over there, Scott. Just a teeny weeny. Little bit. I don't know. Maybe 1,000 rate the rest of it. You know, we're all over there already. AQ and I were already over there, bro. Welcome to the party, Scott. Better late than never.
I feel like they're not going to actually do that. But that whole analogy makes no sense because there's no planet on which the guy that's sitting on the bench is as good as the guy.
And there's no planet in which a Dead by Daylight MMR system is saying that that is true.
Is getting all these goals. If they're playing on the same team, it doesn't mean they're as good as each other. And I think that's the main flaw with their whole line of thinking.
Okay, but if you make the system too accurate, you get more consistent games that are unwinnable for killer. They're trying to not kill the game, Scott. Do you understand? If they're trying to not kill the game, they will make it more accurate when the games won't die when they do so.
And they have this whole like Seymour Skinner meme. It's not me that's wrong. It's everybody else. It's the children who are wrong. Everybody like on the planet agrees that it's not really a good indicator of skill.
Well, obviously not, because I'm here to tell you that statement you just said was false. Okay? It's not great, but it's better than what we had. So, is it good? I mean, I think it's good. I think it's average. Like, if good is average, then yeah. Like you're dealing in absolutes there, Scott Jun, you Sith Lord. You're dealing in way too many absolutes. That is a way too far stretch of a statement to even bother saying. If you're smart, of course. I mean, when you're butthurt, I guess you might say it, but
what would be a good indicator of skill is something like tracking the amount of hooks that you get.
Oh.
Now, obviously, there are certain...
That thing True was saying we should care about back when you said we shouldn't.
Exceptions. Like if an Oni 4K slugs everybody, it doesn't necessarily mean the Oni is bad. However, it does also mean that he didn't really have much opposition to begin with. There's pretty much no scenario where a good Oni can down a full good team and have that be like considered an impressive play. Because there's no scenario in which good survivors should let...
Yeah, see, that's what I was telling you back on the podcast with Jay, and everybody tried to shut me up and move on. I was trying to tell you that. I'm glad you figured that out finally. But yeah, I was trying to tell you that like a year ago. But yeah, glad you're here. Glad you caught up.
Themselves even get into that scenario. So at that point, it's basically just beating up babies. So it doesn't really...
Like Ots did in the streaks, and you defended that.
That's still indicating much of anything. When you get a bunch of hooks, that is what actually indicates, at the very least, somewhat more than getting kills. And
absolutely not, and I'll tell you why. Because if you're playing babies in your games, you can defeat them through slugs or defeat them through the 12 hook count. Okay? It doesn't fucking matter how you do it. You can beat the babies. If you want to prolong the match, wouldn't that be kind of toxic, Scott? If you find people that are obviously way worse than you, Like, I would just put put it down. Just get it over with, move on to the next one. Why prolong that game? Why make their experience miserable? Why do that? Why go? I mean, I guess if you think people like losing, but like, why do that to them? I would just say end the game as fast as possible, and whichever way comes first. I don't know. In fact, the fact that the rate of doing that should like tell the system that, wow, you beat them really fast. Maybe you should be a little higher.
Of skill, but they specifically
the speed of the win could be a factor when it comes to skill there.
Are against that.
Don't make sense when you take it to its extremes. Say you're a killer who hooked every survivor twice, but none of them died. If you count those hooks towards your rating, then you can easily end up in a situation where that scenario counts as a win, like moves you up the standings.
Solid. It's sound
but
reason.
that feels weird. Did you really win? Should your rating go up and make you face stronger opponents, even though all of the survivors got out alive? That probably not, right? That's like an obvious moment of like, it doesn't really compute.
Yeah.
It also doesn't
There's
make sense
something not right if there is a match where the killer's killing everybody and the survivors are all escaping, and you go, yeah, everybody wins. That raises the eyebrow of the man with common sense. Because you look at that and you go, no, someone lost that game.
survivors. If you call that a killer win, that would mean the survivors lost. But they all got out alive, so that feels weird to call that a loss on the survivor side.
It
Unless
doesn't
you start
make
saying
sense.
that everybody in that situation wins, and then as soon as you can have everybody in a game winning, you get some really weird math, some really crazy stuff starts happening.
One of the problems I think that they have is they have this inability to understand what a draw is. Patrick brings up like, okay, so we have to go by kills because what if a guy gets 8 hooks and doesn't kill anybody? You know, he shouldn't be rewarded for that. And I think everybody on the planet agrees, no, that is actually pretty impressive. In fact, that's far more impressive than getting 2 kills and just 6 hook states because you've hooked 2 people. And that's it. That's all you did. So by his own logic, someone that...
See, this is back what I was saying earlier about, well, the killer may have like done a quote unquote more impressive play but like, again, if you're getting 8 hooks, you probably are in that ballpark where the Scott was talking about when the Oni downed everybody in 6 minutes. I mean, if you're realistically getting 8 hooks, I mean, I guess maybe some comp scene players that are incentivized to go out through garbage rule sets can maybe get 8 hooks and then still lose. But like, no, okay, you're making the wrong choice in the game's win condition, which I'm sure P-Nitus' statement where you need a clear win condition will not be played in this video because he's cutting that out. Because this is the game's win condition. Because the devs, I'm sorry to say this, I know you've all been hiding behind this, but the devs have finally confirmed what the win condition is. Meaning if the killer decides to neglect the win condition of the game and to go get 8 hooks without killing anybody, they have not showing signs of skilled play within the game's win condition. The win condition. If you want to argue that that indicates skill of the killer to go do that, I mean, again, if you're getting 8, probably playing some bad players. But I would argue that the killer that has enough awareness to know when to camp, when to do it, executes all the grabs correctly, all that shit, the timing stuff, they're not to be slept on in terms of a skilled player. Not at all. Not at all. Especially with how good these survivors are. So, if you wanted to bring up an actual flaw, I will help you, Scott. If you want to bring up an actual flaw with kill and escape based ranking, what you should be pointing to is the games where the survivors are overly altruistic, when they show back up at the end. Okay, when they win the game already, show up at the end, and then get 4K because they're dumb. Like, those are the games you should be pointing to for flaws in killed and escape MMR. What I would say to that, of course, is that I'm sure they're not affecting anything that much. But I'm at least I'm giving you a legitimate argument that you can bring to the table here. Because that's not legitimate, bro. The killer's making the wrong choice in terms of the game's win condition. How is that skill? They're making the wrong decision. Their execution may have been decent, but they made the wrong decision. And then they lost and got burned for it. Your MMR goes down. I'm sorry the game isn't what you want it to be. I'm sorry. I really am. Because now I have to deal with you more. Because now you're just... You've fallen so hard from grace, dude. You used to be a pit bull. Now you're a chihuahua biting my ankle. Your videos used to be like, Scott Jones coming for your arguments. Now it's like, snip, 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 snip. Yeah, MMR can't do that, bro. You're a chihuahua, Scott.
Spreads out pressure, is getting in multiple chases, and gets 8 total hooks, is worse than a Bubba that face camps one guy, face camps another guy, then the game ends.
In terms of the win condition, he would be worse, yes. Because he's not playing the win condition. In that particular game, he's not playing the win condition. It's like if you play, it's akin to the guy who fucking runs meta versus, I don't know, I'm trying to make an analogy here. It's kind of a tough analogy because it's basically akin to you being mad that somebody is the meta. You're the Exodia player that's complaining. That's what you are. You're the Exodia player that's complaining that the player running, what is it? Dragon Link beat you. There you go. The guy running Dragon Link's kind of not the best deck anymore in Yu-Gi-Oh! Because of a ban list that recently dropped, but that's the most meta I've kept up with it. You're the Exodia player who's mad that the Dragon Link deck beat you. Well, guess what, bro? Dragon Links are meta. They were meta. Dragon Links were meta. Exodia wasn't. Okay? Going to get 8 hooks is not meta. And we've tried to prevent this from being meta. And maybe one day in the future, after some changes, going out to get hooks will be meta again. But for right now, it's not. So for you to demonize the players that are doing that and calling them less skilled is extremely, extremely stupid. And it's obvious. It's insulting. It's insulting the players who know anything about Dead by Daylight.
That's basically what they're admitting, which makes obviously no sense at all.
Not
so
really.
They
It makes
really
perfect
should be
sense.
using hooks as a better indicator. It's almost like he's thinking about this in the complete opposite direction.
Not really.
It seems just so misguided to me because it's the opposite of what you should be saying. He should be saying this argument for hooks and not kills.
No.
Because
No, absolutely not. Patrick understands efficiency is more important than power. Efficiency wins games, power does not. Flexing on your opponents through a hook count does not win you games. Efficiency does. Efficiency is skill in this game. Sorry, go play something else if you don't like that.
do not tell the whole picture. Hooks don't tell the whole picture, but it's a better picture. If you have 8 or 9 hooks, you know that there was a lot of back and forth in that game.
Now, if they have 8 or 9 hooks, I know there was either a comp rule set that was making the killer go out to get more hooks for point incentive that makes losing the game not terrible, or that the guy just wasn't playing meta. That's what that tells me.
You know,
Not what
something
you said.
happened. If there's 2 hooks, you don't know if it was 2 Bubba face camps or actually a bunch of hooks. Like, you have no idea of telling that just from that information. So
But they still got the tie. They still got the draw. It doesn't matter what it was in the hook in the kill and escape win condition. That doesn't fucking matter, Scott. What do you want to do about it, bruh? Like, I have to ask you what you want to do about it. Like, what do you want to do about it?
that's why
Because right now you're just bitching. Stop bitching and give me some substance, you asshole.
pretty much everyone agrees you should be
Pretty much everyone agrees. I'm arguing from authority that I don't have because not everyone actually agrees with me. What a manipulative snake. I'm done with this
the
fucking
skill
shit.
correlation on hooks instead. But here's the interesting part
Okay,
about
now that's where it starts being relevant. I've torn apart his 7 minutes. Patrick's point stands in my mind. Scott Johns flops around like Finn Balor at the end of Extreme Rules 2021. He's flopping around like Finn Balor, bro. Done with that fucking shit.
The next
Back on topic here. Our Scott escapade is over. Let's kind of speed this up. We got a lot left to go over.
question comes from a lot of different people. Hidden Blade, Lexicat, Jimbo Mason, and Iana Bean. They all ask, are there any changes underway for Bloodweb to reduce the grind for perks?
Yeah, I mean, we've known that the grind is a big issue in DBD, and we know it is.
They
right
say
now.
this every time this
It's not
question
much
is
fun.
asked.
It's not much fun. It's a
No,
pretty big grind.
it's not.
We're working on a way to dramatically improve this, and we'll hopefully have more to say about it soon, but not right now. I know everybody loves that answer.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the grind. I've been saying this forever, bruh. There are a lot of ways that you could potentially reduce the grind. Removing perk tiers is one, but they said they're not doing that, so I'm not going to include that. The biggest way to reduce the grind is to increase the value of one blood point. Okay? And how you do that is fix the blood point economy. I say this every fucking time I go over this. Common should be 1,000. Uncommons 2,000. Rares 3,000. Purples 4,000. Iridescence 5,000. That would go a long way to speeding up through your blood webs. It really would. It would make 1 million blood points enough to get a killer's teachables in the blood web. it would help tremendously. That aspect, increasing blood point values, increasing the value of 1 blood point is something they really need to fucking do. And they should have done it 2 years ago. And lowering the cost in the blood web would help. Next, get rid of the clutter. There's so much garbage in people's blood webs. So much garbage. So many offerings that don't do anything. So many bad map offerings. Like, get the fucking crap out. Reduce that shit. All map offerings should be common. That way we can reduce them down to, or at least uncommon, to reduce them down to 2,000. You know what I'm saying here? Or maybe even have specific map offerings. But that's probably something else. But you see what I'm starting to do here. Next, I think Ott's suggestion of a saved build. I've still been advocating for that. Let you have the meta or the perks, at least the perks you want right away. That way you can, like, any perk that you have at tier 3 on somebody could automatically be unlocked at tier 3 for the next character that drops into the game. And when you buy the chapter, you should get 1 million blood points immediately dumped into your account. That way, if you save it, you have 2 million to immediately spend on the new character. This shit would go a long way to fixing the grind. Why they don't do it, I cannot tell you.
One thing that we've seen people ask is if the grade rewards are like a band-aid solution to that.
We were talking about that earlier.
We're
They
not
just
looking
flat
at
out
that as
deny
a
that.
solution to the grind. That's just an increase to the grade rewards, nothing more. We have a related question from Astrian, who asks, "Can we please have perk tiers removed?"
Good question. Straight up, we've got no plans to remove perk tiers. It is a topic that we talk about internally. It's an idea that gets thrown around, but we have no plans to do it right now.
Yeah, we have something else in mind, but not removing perk tiers. 2 quick things about perk tiers.
Yeah, there you
yes,
go.
it would cut the grind in 2/3, but the grind grows exponentially every time new content is added. Not only are we adding new perks...
If you cut the perk tiers, would it grow exponentially? That could be argued, I think.
to unlock, but we're also adding more characters to unlock those perks on. So if we were to do so, it would only be a matter of time before that grind becomes a problem again. The second thing is that it's actually a lot
I actually kind of accept that answer. I mean, I don't fully accept it, but it's good enough for me to just meet them halfway.
more work to remove the perk tiers than just deleting them. And so if we're going to spend a bunch of time on a solution, we'd rather spend that time on a permanent solution, not something that's only going to be effective for a little while.
Yeah, absolutely.
Next question we have is from Pixel Bush, who asks, "Can we have some
Updated killer stats,
adjusted
baby!"
when people have stats?"
I don't know, Dylan. Can they?
Well, I'm going to show them anyway, but yeah.
Yeah, I figure.
There's your new
Father
stats,
answer.
bro. Let's deal with that in a second.
So there you go.
I'm gonna deal with those stats in a minute.
We have a question from
Let's
Epic
keep-
Warhog.
Is
who-
this it? Okay, yes.
8%
Here are the
take
stats. Honestly, because I love you guys so much. I love you guys, right? I try to get you the best content for this game. Okay? So I went and did what nobody else did. No one else definitely did that. Okay? I went and what I actually did for you guys was I grabbed the new stats and the previous set of stats, okay? Because I want you guys to be the most educated on this game. You might go, Rosie, this kind of looks like it shoots your point in the foot a little bit. I don't care if that's what you think it does. I want you guys to be educated on what's fucking happening, okay? That's more important to me than being right, okay? But I also think I can explain what you see here, okay? So this is the killer data. No distinction between high and low MMR for the killers right now, okay? I didn't bother getting the red rank data because that data doesn't mean shit anymore. Basically, though, what you need to remember from the red rank data is that kill rates were in the 70s for some of these characters, like 75% for some of these characters, okay? So, like, you know, Spirit was up there, Freddy was up there, all these characters were up there, okay? So when you look at this killer data right now, you can see D-tier Freddy's up there, top 3 kill rates. That's odd. Thought he was bad. Some other interesting things down there. You see Deathslinger has fallen from grace, obviously. A Clown is better than him, obviously. You have Bitch Boy down there. Bitch Boy! Bitch Boy down there, guys. He's at his favorite position, on bottom. Bitch Boy down there. Other interesting things. You see Twins down there. Definitely too hard for the average player to play. But I also take back that they're bad. They're still all right. They're still an A-tier character right now. Wraith down there, he took a slight fall. Ghostface, don't know how that character's surviving. Pyramid Head, who I thought would be higher, honestly. Myers still up there for some reason, because there's still a correlation between pick rates and stuff. There's Artist being the second most picked character in the game when Scott Junn said she's dead and nobody plays her. That's odd. Looks like Scott Junn's just busy being wrong today, dude. Oh, wait, no, sorry, third. I still see Wraith down there. Third most picked character. Sorry, Scott. So there's that for you. 57.63 for Bubba. Cenobite. So killers aren't really averaging more than 2 kills a match now. Okay? So, let's be fair. I went and grabbed the old data. Here's the last set of stats I remember. I'm so sorry, it's poor quality. What are you going to do? Okay? There's Shitslinger, 54.76. What is he now? 53. Not too bad. This is all ranks, though. There's Freddy at 66. What's he at now? What's Freddy at now? Oh, look at that. 57. Freddy's kill rate dropped 6%. Bubba, 57.63. What's Bubba at in this one? 62. So Bubba dropped from 62 to 57. Okay? So you might be saying, Rosie, this ain't that bad. Plague actually increased. Plague went from 50 to, because she got her nice little buff, right? So she went up 7%. But so you might be saying here, Rosie, that doesn't look that different, my dude. That doesn't look that different at all. Look at Ghostface. What was he at? 58? What's he at now? 54. He dropped 5%. Okay. So you might be saying, Rosie, that doesn't look that different. Yes. Okay. What you see here, ladies and gentlemen, is the all ranks versus all MMR stats. Okay. So we're talking across the entire board, the entirety of the of the games. It hasn't really changed that much. However, one interesting trend is that kills are down. Kills are down. 58.62 for the highest here. And what is that? 66 for Freddy. So kill rates from the highest character in the last one to this one has dropped 8%. So about a 10% drop in kill rates from the highest to the highest character, being Pinhead versus Freddy. A stronger Freddy, I will admit that. So, I want to ask everybody, where's that 10% coming from? So you guys say, Rosie, it's only dropped about 5 to 10% per character. Like Bubba has one of the highest kill rates here at 57%. Bubba dropped. His kills are down, 62. See Bubba's kill rates dropped from 62 to 57. So, Bubba's kill rates dropped about 5%. I want you to search your soul and tell me where those fucking drops are at. Where do you think those drops are at? They're at the highest MMR. The significant drops are at the highest MMR. So, the kill rates are down from this chart here, and you can use that, I would argue, to kind of guess what the high MMR kill rate would look like. Odds are significantly lower than 75%. From what it used to be. Kill rates have been declining because for forever. Like, remember, Freddy used to be at like 75% kills. Maybe that's at red rank though. I would say Freddy's high MMR kill rate is probably around 50 to 60% So kind of like this. I think the charts have really evened out their distribution. I honestly think that probably happened. I think the chart, whereas before you would see like a 20% disparity in between the red ranks and the all kills, all ranks. Before you'd see a pretty significant disparity on some of the characters. Now I think that's evened, okay? Because killers are losing more. So I think the gap has kind of evened between them. The gap between high MMR and low MMR kind of kills has kind of evened out simply because killers are losing more at high MMR. That's what's taking place. That explains the drop, okay? What Doctor, dude? Look at Doctor. 60% on Doctor here. Doctor's kill rate almost dropped fucking 8%. Because high MMR, where Doctor's worse. Right? Not everyone. Doctor's worse at high MMR, right? That explains the 10%. That's the almost 10% drop in kill rates for that character. Like, do you see that? So it's like, yes, while the all rank stats don't look much different, if you kind of pick it apart a little bit, you can kind of infer that high MMR ain't looking too good for killer right now. It ain't looking too good, bruh. So that's my take on the stats. And I doubt anybody else bothered to go do this. So you can thank your boy Rosie for doing that. Poor Shitslinger, bro. Worse than Clown. It feels bad. Billy's .03 away from Clown. Poor boy.
Matchmaking.
Okay, so Scott Junn's video. This was the stats one, right? This was the stats one. Okay, we're back on track. Let's go. Keep on trucking. Those stats did not paint a good picture for the investigating eye.
With that in mind. Next question.
Look at you simplifying my answers.
Yeah, just, quick summary. So, quick question from Tataru, who asks, is there any news to share about the Ghostface and Legion updates?
The news is that they're in the pipe and work is underway.
Oh, cool.
To clarify,
so you get nothing on that, guys. Why was this question asked if they don't have an answer?
To rework them hadn't actually been completed and approved yet. Contrary to what some people might say, when we undertake a killer update, there's actually a lot of research and planning involved, especially from the design side. Our live
that doesn't show up in the
play
final
tons
product.
and tons of games with that killer. Tons and tons of games. They read threads on the forums. They talk to other team members.
The forums, just where I want my DVD design coming from.
Team to get a better idea of what the community is saying. We look at it from all angles, so it takes a while to make.
You'd be calling them Kurt.
We still don't have an exact date to give you for when they're going to be.
Bonus points if you can tell me when John Cena said that.
Delivered. Schedules can change. I don't want to tell you anything that's going to change in a few weeks or a month or anything like that. But they are still the next killer updates that you'll see. Work is happening on them right now, and you'll see them as soon as they're done.
And these characters desperately need them. What's interesting here is that these two, I find it interesting that these two are the first chosen killer reworks for MMR, because I honestly think that these two are the worst characters in the game right now. Ghostface and Legion, order varies. I think Ghostface is actually worse right now than Legion is. But I can definitely see the arguments for Legion being the worst in the game right now. Circle of Healing is negating both of these characters and making their lives a living hell. They would be slightly better if that perk wasn't in the game, but the Ghostface can't even play. At least Legion can play. Ghostface can't even play. It's that bad. Happy Scream Week, everybody. Ghostface can't play the fucking game. Yeah, Ghostface is a mess. That character can't do shit right now if against people that are good. So I just find it interesting that these two, it's almost like they have a grasp of what is happening at high MMR. These two characters desperately needed something because they need buffed so bad to compete with this new meta. They're looking rough. No camp, no chase. They're garbage. They definitely needed this.
Yep. So just really quick, can we rule out that it won't be in this next update, just so we don't get our hopes up?
Yeah, it wasn't in the patch
we
notes,
traditionally
Patrick.
release killer updates on mid-chapter patches, not main chapter patches. So I wouldn't expect to see this in,
so,
5.
Question from Teufal, who asks, will Year 7 focus more on game health?
Fat chance, kid!
So short answer for that is we are continuously working on both. So we actually have separate teams that handle.
We've talked about this
so
before.
we are able to work on
Every time that these things pop up, they go into their separate teams and their really intricate design process that I think actually hurts them more than helps. I think there's too many people talking over there. I'll keep saying that. There's too many people talking and not enough implementation of proposed changes being added. They talk too much and work too little. I imagine it kind of being like a high school over there, college. I think they have a very relatively young staff. I just think they do a lot of talking, a lot of horseplay probably occurs there. I don't think they're the most productive group in the world. And I think having more employees there, more clutter, more chatter getting in the way of productivity, I think their system is overall bad and hurts them more than helps. But what do I know?
All simultaneously. I mean, you can imagine we can't throw artists and have them directly work on something else, so we do split up different teams, we have different silos, and we prioritize the work accordingly so that we can keep the game moving forward and keep improving the health of it. So we've actually got tons of game health and quality of life focused content in the pipeline that we hope to share with everyone later this summer.
Hope to share with everyone later. Come back this summer, you can ask the same fucking thing again, and we'll tell you the same fucking answer.
I mean, stay tuned for all of our broadcasts and everything. We are going to be revealing more.
Come back next summer, we'll tell you the same fucking thing!
Yeah, it's a tricky balance to find, because some people do want that new content. I think even with this mid-chapter, you can kind of see, although it was focused largely on quality of life improvements and game health, There were some people just asking, where's the content?
No, that's not why people were bitching about the mid-chapter penitis. That's not why people were bitching. People were bitching about the mid-chapter because it was nothing. Like, that mid-chapter was so garbage, I didn't even make a video on it. Like, there was nothing for me to analyze there. I couldn't do it. I could not bring myself to analyze that. There was nothing there. And I, as a recovering alcoholic, was not going to spend my time doing something that would make me want to drink. Comprende? Nothing. There was nothing there, dude. Hilarious. Okay.
So it's totally fair. We try to find the right balance there and give everybody something to look forward to.
I do hear there's also a very cool tome release coming out.
Oh,
this time.
Tomes, awesome.
Maybe?
Stay tuned.
Shoot me.
Question from Freckled Shrike. Does Behavior plan to release more frequent and impactful game health patches like 5.3.0? Before we answer this, I just want to clarify that we don't really consider 5.3.0 to be game health, so to speak.
I do.
There's a lot of good stuff in that. There's a lot of balance changes. But we consider game health to be more like fixing bugs, addressing big issues, quality of life features, things like that.
Yeah, and the response to the large number of changes in 5.3.0 was extremely positive, and we know that everybody wants more. Giant patches like that are extremely hard to make, both because the work involved, but also because the play testing and the balancing passes needed. There's a lot of iterations, a lot of checks and stuff we have to do internally. So don't expect to see giant patches like that, every mid-chapter or even terribly frequently. But hopefully, it's not the last one.
No,
like
it likely wasn't, which is what I said when everyone was saying that this was McLean's baby and he was McLean's final parting gift. I seriously doubted that. These things are a group effort. To say they're not is bullshit. And honestly, with how intelligent Patrick is, it really seems like he's the one leading the charge here. So I think McLean had little to nothing to do with it.
Yeah. Sometimes we like to have big updates, and sometimes we have to take some time to focus on them.
There will be more updates like that one.
Fixing a bunch of
I'm
nerdy
sure of
bugs,
it.
which probably isn't exciting to most people, but for the nurse players out there, I'm sure that's the greatest thing you've heard all year. It's only about a month into the year, so there's probably not a whole lot you've heard, but you get the point. Next question comes from Fantasy, who asks, can survivor spawn and hex locations be improved?
Oh boy!
Specifically mentioned survivor spawning close to a generator or to a hex totem.
Yeah, we're always looking at improvements to our procedural generation system. It's something we tweak fairly regularly. They're quite hard to do, though.
A massive improvement to the procedural generation system would be to have it fixed and have it not be RNG. But what the fuck do I know?
And they're really hard to test, right? Something happens in, 1 out of every 500 games. It's tricky for us to reproduce it, to figure out the right way to do it. So, yeah, given the nature of the system, those things are slow and a little more difficult to do, but we are always looking at them.
Yeah, there's also a catch here in that if you start adding a bunch of rules for where survivors can't spawn, like if you say you can't spawn near a hex totem, that immediately rules out a big part of the map. And that can create other issues where maybe...
if this was all just fixed, you wouldn't have this problem.
The other thing is that it kind of has a knock-on effect that if I know I didn't spawn near a totem and my teammate over there didn't spawn next to a totem, that immediately rules that area out, and I know I don't have to check that to find the totem. So it could even make it a little easier sometimes. So
Sometimes.
it's tricky. We also try to hide those totems better when we update maps. That helps a lot.
Another thing that would help would be a rotational system of spawning when it comes to totems. That would be very nice.
Yeah, and just to be clear, just as...
If they rotated the spawns every few months, it would keep the game unpredictable. It would don't even use the same spawns. Keep mixing it up. Out of a fixed set of locations, kind of randomizing your best efforts to change how never have a fixed set of spawn locations for this shit. It would be very much appreciated.
Saying that it's tricky doesn't mean we're not working on it. We are working on it. It just means that
would help,
it takes
Patrick.
time.
For sure. Next question comes from Cabbage. There's work to be done within the game itself, not just...
I'm not commenting on the cheating shit. This is one thing that I'm not going to be commenting on. I'm not going to comment on the cheating stuff because I will sound like a complete Nimrod when it comes to that shit. I know I'm very technologically dumb, so I will not be the best source of information when it comes to that.
It's also on us to fix those vulnerabilities as they come up. Next question is from Chuck Litt, who asks, any plans to slightly slow down gens, especially early game? They give the example of having to find like a special tool to fix the gens.
Yeah, we've actually tried mechanics like hunting for special items at the start of the game in the past. I mean, we were talking about the early game
The red glyph doesn't count, buddy.
stuff earlier in this Q&A, right? That's one of the things that we talked about a lot. And we've tried other similar mechanics as well, just like those during playtesting. They were pretty resoundingly rejected. They just weren't fun. They just added a level of complexity that most people didn't
just
find
weren't
enjoyable about the
fun!
game. That said, generator timings and the general slow down meta are something that we're talking about right now, and hopefully we'll have more news to share on that as soon.
So they are planning to hit the meta again, okay? What he said there, now don't freak out yet, he said that the slowdown meta for killers as well as the generator repair times are being worked on. If they ask this in a ranking system Q&A, I implore you to, like, what do you think that response would have been? Oh, I already know. They've already asked that. Like, will generator times be looked at? No. In every fucking rank system Q&A, they rejected the idea of looking at the generator completion times. Okay? Now, I will also must stress that this doesn't mean increasing the amount of time it takes to repair a gen. It means that they are looking at the objective completion rate for the survivors and actually looking at it. Like, are gens going too fast is a question that is now being asked. Thanks, MMR! Thanks! Thanks for that!
Before we get into
MMR is an
your
unsung
letters,
hero.
I just want to clarify, are we also looking at the survivor meta as well?
Oh yeah, we're looking at the meta on both sides. Soon.
They're taking a look at the survivor meta. Like, what? They're taking a look at, yes, the slowdown, but like, let's talk about why you would need to address the slowdown perch. If you make the game balanced enough without perks, the slowdown meta becomes OP. So it makes natural sense that if you're going to add some base mechanics to slow down the gens, that you wouldn't want to, like, take a look at the slowdown meta too. It makes sense. That makes logical, complete sense. Making sure you don't overtune the killers to deal with it. But again, they would not be looking at objective completion time in a rank-based system. Like, do you honestly want to sit here and tell me that they would? Like, they would fucking snort cocaine through their ass crack before they would bother looking at that in the rank-based system. That's probably why all those heads all screwed up. He's snorting coke. That's why his head's like that, bruh. Like, they would sooner do that. They really, really would. But in this MMR-based system, look what's happening. We're getting this addressed.
Alex Segrub asks, will we ever see a visual
Who cares?
trap and then puts the survivor in it? I want that. Dwight Fairfield,
Dwight
I don't think
Fairfield.
that's the real Dwight, asks,
Uh-oh!
is there anything planned for the ship?
Uh-oh! Michael Myers! You want buffs for Michael Myers, man! Michael Myers, man! Ah! You want buffs for Michael Myers? We're not buffing Michael Myers, man! Man, we're not buffing shitty Michael Myers! He's just gonna be shit forever! Halloween ends refers to the end of my turn. Michael Myers sucks, bro. We ain't buffing Michael Myers. He do well with picture 10, man. Michael Myers. He just popped that tier 3 round the hook and he gets him. Michael Myers. We're not buffing shitty Michael Myers, man. Tier 1 gonna be shit forever.
Simple answer there. Nothing on the.
We're not buffing Michael Myers, man.
We've sort of moved away
Quit
from
asking us to buff Michael Myers. We're never gonna do it. We're never buffing Michael Myers. We're not gonna do it. Stop asking. We're not ever gonna buff Michael Myers. And the more you ask us if we're gonna buff Michael Myers, the less likely we're gonna do it. We're not buffing Michael Myers, man.
updates to a single killer in an update, and we've started to spread those changes around to multiple killers. One of the things about having 26 killers in the game is that if we change one of them, we've only changed 1/26th of the game.
And Michael Myers ain't gonna be 1/26 of the game we changed, but Michael Myers. Ah, Michael Myers, stop asking us to buff Michael Myers. We ain't doing it.
Comes from Cake Duty. During your last Q&A, you spoke about some balance changes made to face camping.
Oh
Could you
boy,
talk more
that's
about
what the
them
game
next?
needs.
Is it possible to
You know
share
the
them
glue
with
that's
us now?
holding it together? Let's nerf that.
I mean, the updates on that one, great question, is we're still working on it. We've got an internal prototype that we're playtesting like now.
They're having their first internal prototype.
And we're organizing our playtest to take a look at it, but that's an early prototype, right? So it's still a long way from being completed.
That could see implementation into the game towards the end of the year if they get it working. Hopefully, Dead Hard is nerfed before then. Dead Hard at least needs a change before this goes in. Chasing cannot be this week before they do this. Because I've learned that, especially on some characters, that face camping is really the glue holding them together right now. It's a sad, unfortunate reality that we all tried to stop, but no, that wasn't listened to. But the unfortunate reality of the situation is that if you need to make chasing better before you do this, or killers' kill rates will continue to drop and the game will be bad.
Game development, especially on a project.
Not that I'm against that either. The meta should be to go out and chase. It should be. But that's not how the ball rolls right now. And a nerf to face camping, it's not going to help your kill rates at all. So make sure the killers are ready to go do that. Nerf to Dead Hard, nerf to the objective completion speed in any way, shape, or form before this gets added. Please and thank you.
Size and complexity of Dead by Daylight takes a lot of time.
The complexity of Dead by Daylight. My ass is more complex than Dead by Daylight.
But we are trying to, give you guys hints and tidbits about what we're doing sooner than usual.
Yeah, I know you can't tell me what it is, but can you tell me what it isn't? Like, will I be able to fling myself off the hook and drop kick the killer?
There you go. That's Otz's last suggestion.
No killer drop kicking.
Oh man,
nothing quite as zany as that. No.
What a shame.
Feel free to use that.
Oh, there are my keys.
From our Japanese community, we have a question from Hikarin, who asks, why do you nerf add-ons of killers who are unpopular?
Uh-oh. Here comes the twins conversation.
Yeah, it's I've seen that question floating around a lot lately.
Why did you nerf Ghostface's add-ons?
Kill rates, as a blanket term, it's a bit of shorthand, but there is obviously a lot of nuance to it, right? Players at different skill levels, MMR, right?
Yeah.
Perform differently using the same killer. The twins is actually a really, really good example of
yeah,
this.
you remember that they just gutted twins, even though Circle of Healing was already doing a pretty good job at that anyway?
Often, as you
Circle of Healing knocked them down an entire tier. They went from an undisputed top 3 S tier character to probably one of the weaker A tiers. I still think they're in A tier. I know I said they were bad in my server, so some of you might feel betrayed, but they are twins, bruh. They're my babies. I can't in good consciousness rate them anywhere below A. The more I think about it.
In the recent pick rate chart, right? And they're especially not very effective in terms of kill rate at low and mid-tier MMR.
Because those people can't play them.
Absolute monsters at high-end MMR.
Yeah,
some of our players with
really
the absolute
good.
highest kill rate in the game right now
are
playing twins. Yeah. They're twins players. So
twins are really
buffing
good.
add-ons for the twins doesn't make sense explicitly in a situation like this, because while it might increase the effectiveness of the killer at the low and the mid tier, it will absolutely further their imbalance at the high end of MMR, right? This is the kind of challenges
not necessarily. Those buffs would have to be effective enough, like those other add-ons that you buffed, like the iridescent pendant, that's still not going to see any play because it's still garbage. Like, buffing add-ons that are bad isn't going to help them at all at high level, because no one's going to run that trash.
Nerfing them might seem a little bit cruel, but they're add-ons which are boosting the performance of these killers, the twins, right, in this example, beyond the range that we normally want to see an add-on influence. So you look at how often that killer is killing when there's no add-ons or when there's different add-ons on, and then you look at the kill rate once that add-on's in, and you go, oh, that kill rate goes flying up way too high.
That does suck, but I knew twins would bite the bullet eventually. They are really good. And especially prior to Circle of Healing's release, they were S tier. And so, like, every other S tier was getting nerfed. I knew eventually they would bite that bullet. And they bit it, and they're possibly going to bite another one the next time that they're mentioned in the stream, which we'll get to. But the problem with twins is that because they were such untapped gods, they're such untapped gods, right? And they're still good. They're still an A tier character. Because they're so good, like, any change that the devs do to them is realistically going to nerf them, because the devs, there's no way in hell that they understand them. There's no way in hell that these guys know what they're doing with twins. beyond the fact that Toy Sword is good and the movement add-ons are good. That's all they fucking knew about twins. So, of course, when they nerfed them, they hit the only add-ons they have. Because that is to the extent of their knowledge about the character. Okay? But if they were to rework the character...
In addition to this, it's also worth remembering we did buff some add-ons.
Yeah, we buffed garbage, and it's still bad.
For these killers.
Pat us on the back. Hey, Patrick, you don't get rewarded for your performance, my guy. You need to show me some results, and an iridescent pendant, their buff duration doesn't fucking help them at all. So, I can be undetectable as Charlotte. Cool. The character I really don't want to be playing as.
Again, example, iridescent pendants
cool.
and baby teeth were weaker add-ons. They both don't see great correlation with kill rate. So we buffed them. We saw their, you've seen their durations extended significantly in this patch with an aim to make them more appealing, more interesting,
yeah, that's not
and
gonna
more well-balanced.
that's not gonna do anything.
Yeah, one other thing.
Twins are interesting because of their ability to slug and down, and their ability to spread pressure in the way that no other killer can. That's why they're interesting. A duration buff to add-ons is not what is interesting about the twins, bruh. See the misconceptions that they have about their most unique character? They have severe misconceptions about their most unique character, which is why I don't want them touching them.
Programmer time.
They
So
don't
we
know
have
what they
limited,
have.
Bandwidth of time for every department. And when it comes to add-on changes, we had to just pick ones that the designers can go in themselves and tweak the numbers on. Things like Alchemist Ring get brought up a lot, and like a big part of the reason why that wasn't included here is because there's no time to make an actual programming change.
There you go, bruh. Alchemist Ring will be nerfed.
But yeah, just because
don't know if that'll
change
hurt Blight
update, it doesn't mean that we're not
to an
paying
extreme
attention
degree,
to it. It's on
but
our radar. We'll get to it someday, as soon as we can.
Yeah, there's a few add-ons in the game. I don't know if you've noticed.
Yeah, that'll be nerfed. Okay, next.
Moving on. Shrimpy asks, can we get a
We
little
got
more
6
info
left.
on those Survivor solo queue improvements?
This is the most important thing in the game right now, because this question actually ties to the last one that they asked about killers being buffed with Swift. So I will go ahead and take those two questions together as a bundle. Can we get a little more information on the solo queue improvements? Basically, they want to improve solo queue, and they're not balancing killers for Swifts. What that essentially means is we need solo queue buffed to be on a kind of significant level to Swift. Solo queues and Swifts need to be at a level where they don't feel much different. Which, I mean, they kind of already do if you're good, but we need that to be even bigger. We need the amount of solo queue players that feel like Swifts to be even bigger than they are, even at high MMR, in order to get the kill changes we want. In order to get these killer changes we want, we need to make survivors stronger. We need to make solo queue survivors even stronger, which means you as a killer player should be keeping an eye on these changes because they're important. They're important to you and getting the buffs you want. You need that gap needs to go away, or at least be a little bit more minuscule, so the devs will be more inclined to make changes that help killers against Swifts.
I'm gonna have to give everybody's favorite answer in there. We don't have much to reveal about that right now. It's again very early in the design process. It's something that we're looking at and debating.
Oh, this is a big video, bro.
However,
I do mine in one
I'd very
take.
much
Ots,
like
what
to
are you
encourage
about
everybody
you?
to keep making posts on the forums about what you'd like to see in terms of
Oh boy,
queue,
forum
improvements
posts.
as a survivor. We really do read them. I read them.
Unfortunate.
Dylan reads them. Everybody reads them. The whole team reads them, right?
That's your problem. I feel like the devs need to do a bit more research than the forum.
Justin reads
The
them.
forum is kind of cringe, and they ban people for dumb reasons.
Those whose names of other designers on the team I can't remember. Everybody reads the damn things. So please do keep leaving them. They're great. They're super useful information. We want to know what kind of things solo queue survivors are looking at getting to improve their play experience.
Yeah, this is probably like one of the earliest times we've ever shown something like this off. I just really quickly want to shout out 99th Cloud from Reddit, who made an amazing mock-up. I'll put it on screen right now.
Now, I can't read any of that shit, but what I'm guessing that is it's kind of an Identity Vive style situational, like, signaling to your teammates what you're doing, which is very good. The game needs that. It's one of Scott John's better suggestions. That needs to go in. And I think that some HUD icons would actually be very useful in helping solo queue be at the level they need to get the killer buffs we need.
Of how that could look. And
so I can't read that. Feel free to pause this and read it. I probably will on my own time.
Please keep them coming. They're amazing.
Yeah, I think one thing, just to kind of jump on there, like one thing that's really great, like, yeah, it's nice to hear how you guys talk about what would be great for the survivor experience, but what killers think about it as well is also very important. So, we're following those discussions very closely, and
Yeah.
it's great to see.
What I think as a killer is whatever it fucking takes to get the buffs we need. Put that in. Put it in. Make the solo queues good. Make them better. Make it more tolerable so we can get the buffs we need. This is a stepping stone process, okay? They have their ways. They're very set in their ways. They want to do this first before we potentially get the killer buffs. It's frustrating, but they've said enough good today to where I don't really have much of a problem with it
Actually
right now.
talking about it, because
It's what they're doing. What am I gonna do? What are you gonna do about it, bitch? Like what? What's bitching about it really gonna do? This is what they've done. This is what they want to do. It's what they're doing.
do it. We want to do it right.
Yep, for sure. Our
Next,
we'll have more stats.
more stats.
Again,
I'm showing them anyway.
I guess.
Okay, the killingest map is Midwich Elementary School with a 63% kill rate, and the worst map is Fractured Cowshed. Any brain dead moron could have told you that, because that map is fucking broken. Okay, now let's address Midwich, because Midwich is a map that surprises everybody. Like, listen.
Yeah, so the killingest map is surprising.
Surprising,
Midwich
yeah.
Elementary School.
Did we killingest? Okay.
It's not a word. I made it
Okay.
up for this.
Like, surprisingly, he says the killingest map is Midwich. Surprisingly, that fact surprised him. Why did that fact surprise him? Because Midwich is an unbalanced survivor-favored map. Okay? Much like they all are, being the killingest map in Dead by Daylight is being the smartest Kardashian. It doesn't really mean anything. Every map is survivor-sided, at least a little bit, not to like an extreme degree, but because the game is survivor-sided, every map is survivor-sided. So, again, being the killingest map is akin to being the smartest Kardashian. It doesn't mean shit. Anyway, why is it Midwich? Because solo queue babies have no idea what the fuck they're doing there. It's that simple. Low MMR and mid MMR, they can't run that shit. There's no way they can play that map effectively. Bad play means killer wins, even if the killer plays bad. That's why you see more kills on Midwich. Even though at higher MMR, it's fucking broken, and the survivors, it's one of the worst maps in the game for killer at higher MMR. Unfortunately, not very many people can run it. So, there you go. That is what it
I feel
is.
like that's
Skip that
Gotcha.
shit. Move on.
Yeah, the meme came true, I guess.
Don't want to hear about
There you
Ott's
go.
1v1 cowshed. Sorry.
Next question comes from Majura, who asks, what is the killer and survivor player distribution? They say that queue times for survivor for them?
Yeah, I was going to listen to this one, but it's stuff we already kind of know. If they talked about this before, there's more killers on at night it's harder to queue up as survivor at night because killer players are in bed. So there's more survivors waiting in queue than there are killers to play them. Blah, yada, yada, yada. Moving on.
It's from the Tarnavsky, who asks, will SBMM ratings be visible?
not anytime soon. Having a visible MMR is something that will absolutely lead to a lot of toxic elitism, and we don't want to encourage that kind of mentality in the community. What we do
The
want...
toxic elitism already exists in the community. That thing that they're worried about is already there. It's already there. The problem is that we are now unable to identify the cronies that aren't actually the high MMR. Myself included here, by the way. If I'm not at high MMR, I'd like to fucking know about it. You know what I mean? I want to frame my own perspective on the game, but I can't do that if the MMR is being shielded. Especially right now, when I'm rusty, because I've taken a very extreme hiatus. I've taken a very, very, very long hiatus. And so I'm nowhere near as good as I used to be, and that's evident if you've watched me play recently. I'm nowhere near as good as I used to be. So, am I on high MMR? I mean, I'm still there because I haven't played, but like, I know I'm making more mistakes now, and so like, I don't know where I should be right now as somebody who's kind of coming back into the game. I want my perspective to be realistic. Okay? If I am not at high MMR, I don't want to say I am and make myself look stupid. But that is not a sentiment that is not a popular sentiment. People that win like to go, oh, how about high MMR, dude? Like, the problem is that the default reaction from people is to say they're at high MMR. And again, I'm kind of guilty of this too, because again, we don't 100% know. Like we don't 100% know. So like you have to assume, like, my games feel hard. Like the only thing that you have to go off of is my games feel hard, And I'm not seeing many mistakes that I'm making. Of course, if I go back and watch a game, I'll see a few mistakes. But like 2 or 3, especially back when I was kind of playing a bit more. 2 or 3. Kind of like that Twins game where I made maybe 1 mistake and then they fucking killed me. But, you know, that really do be how it be. That'd be how it be, bro. So, like, the toxic elitism is already there. It's just being perpetrated by clowns that shouldn't have it half the time. So, I don't agree with this logic still. I think they're full of shit.
Is to have a way for our more competitively minded gamers to get feedback on their standing within the game.
See, that would be good.
A little bit more meaningful than the current grade system is. And
Exactly.
we want to do that eventually.
See, we're still taking shots at how fucking trash the emblem system is, even though like they still want to go back and fix that just because of how bad it is. I think that's funny. Like, they still want like a bit more of a correlation between grades and MMR. At least, I mean, I don't agree with that. I think there should be a different way. I think you should be able to see your number if you go to options and then like ask to see it. You know what I mean? I think it should be in the options menu, isolated. They shouldn't even really tell you about it except when it goes in. It should be like in one little tiny patch note that added a feature to check your MMR for every character in the options menu. You know, and that should be it. Then we'll know, and everybody else won't. You know what I mean? I think they could do that.
As with many other things, it's not at the top of our list at the moment, but it is something that is being worked on.
That's something they could do there.
There's some people out there who don't want to see that number. Some people get stressed out when they have a bad match and they see that go down, and it just really upsets them. So there's 2 sides to it. I don't think anyone's really wrong, but we got to keep both sides in mind there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Next question comes.
Next. Almost done. Yeah. Wrapping it up. Let's bring her home, baby.
That was really nice.
I still want him after that. That's awesome.
Wait, what did he just say?
Yeah, I love that.
Also makes sense.
All-kill was real nice.
I still want him after that. That's awesome.
P-Nitus wants a map for all-kill. He wants a trickster map. Tell me you're a beta male without telling me you're a beta male. Tell me you like bitch boy without telling me you like bitch boy.
Okay. We have another question from Nocturne, who asks, "Are you looking at doing some quality of life changes for the twins anytime soon?"
Here it is.
The twins.
Oh boy, here we go.
Should I do the banner?
I think you have a banner. Yeah, I think you have a disclaimer to help me. Okay, there we go. Not in the next update. You have been warned. Okay. The twins come up in discussion regularly, and they are likely to be the next killer to see love after the Ghostface and Legion updates that we were talking about previously. This is not coming anytime soon. Look at the banner. Look at the banner. Not coming anytime soon. Please don't freak out that it's not in the next patch or anything. The twins changes are going to take a lot of time. There's a lot to do with the twins, specifically due to the nature of the killer, to clean up a lot of the friction points that people are experiencing, to take into account a lot of the feedback we're getting. It's going to take time. It's tricky. Will be done. Not anytime soon.
That should worry you as a twins player. Okay, because the problem I see with this is I do not believe the devs understand the killer. I don't think they understand twins, beyond the fact that those add-ons we're seeing play. So they just nerfed the add-ons, okay? Let me explain why I worry as a twins player about that. Because the fact that they don't understand the character, along with an admission that the character is performing very well at high MMR, something I always knew would happen, guess what? Do you think that all those changes are going to be buffs? No. They will do something intentionally or unintentionally to nerf the character. Because they are so good right now, and if Circle of Healing wasn't in the game, they'd be top 3. Because they are so good, because their chase is so good, because their map pressure is so good, because everything about them is so good, any change that you would make to them is realistically going to hurt them in the grand scheme of things. The best thing you could do for the twins is to leave them alone. They should be just like Nurse. Leave them alone. You accidentally broke the game. They're not too broken because of artificial balance things like perks and stuff like that. Just leave them alone. That's the best change you could do for them. Just don't. Now, we will see how those add-on changes do hurt them, Maybe if their high MMR usage goes down because of the fact that they nerf those add-ons, maybe a bit of a back-to-basics approach might not be the worst thing for them in that retrospect. But any change you could do to that character is going to hurt them. They will be worse after that update, I promise. They will be garbage. Unless they inflict broken that they can... I don't fucking know. I don't trust them to give the twins love. I trust them to nerf the character, but make them have like a solid 55-60% kill rate. That's what they're going to do to them. But overall, they will be nerfed. I promise they just will. That's just what this team is going to do. That's what they always do.
All right, then.
Last question.
Skill-based matchmaking really working?
One more return to
That's a great
MMR.
question. I understand where it's coming from. So first of all, it's important to remember that the grade that you see, in this case, iridescent grade, isn't really an indicator of skill or MMR. It's not an indicator from the skill-based matchmaking system. Don't be afraid of those folks with iridescent grades showing up. All it means is that they've played a fair bit this month.
Yeah.
Right? Remember, 13th of every month, everybody goes back down to the bottom. You all start the climb again. So if you play on the 13th or on the 14th, I doubt you'll see too many iridescents, although I'm sure somebody's going to take that as a challenge.
They'll just hack it.
In terms of the MMR system itself, and I'm going to be very careful when I say this, and put a lot of caveats here. The MMR system itself, the ratings, is absolutely working well.
Patrick will continue to stand his ground on that. It's working, motherfuckers! It's working! He knows it. You feel it in your matches. It's working. Honestly, True Talent's reason for wanting MMR to go away is the fact that it's working. And the fact that the devs aren't doing anything about it yet. That's why he wants it gone. Because it's working. Not because it's not working, but because it is. That is a more valid reason to want it gone, because it's working.
The chat to explode in 2 seconds. We've gathered tons and tons of data that show it's really good at predicting match outcomes. The problem, and there is a problem, I am admitting there's problems here, lies more with the matchmaking system itself and the situations where it puts players into a game that it already knows will be imbalanced. So, matchmaking is always a bit of a balancing act between speed and fairness. You can find matches really, really fast in any matchmaking system.
Basically,
but they will be comic.
What he's saying here, he's going to be continuing to say, is that the previous philosophy of shove you into a match as fast as fucking possible is still having an impact. While this may be intentional to keep the game in the killer's lane sane as they continue to deal with the horrendous balance of the game, maybe that's intentional, maybe that's the way they want it while they fix the game. This is just the effect it's having. The previous philosophy of shove you into a match without caring is still affecting the current system. Okay? That's what he's saying.
Unbalanced and unfair and not fun for the people involved. You can also make all matches extremely balanced, but it'll take hours to find them. It would be really easy for us to say every match is perfectly balanced if y'all were willing to wait for 3 hours to play every single match. That doesn't sound like a good time, though. So, there are places in our system that prioritize speed over fairness right now a little bit too much.
A little bit too much, absolutely. We need to make wait times longer, which is something I've said a long time ago about this. Queue times should be increased. They should be, in the name of fairer matches. When you're getting into a game in 7 fucking seconds, or 10 seconds, or even fucking 1 minute, maximum you should be waiting is around 5 minutes. 3 to 5 minutes, I think, is what people should be willing to wait in the name of fairness. In the name of the game not being a bully simulator. Why do you want to go bully somebody? Why is that an appealing option?
A lot of these problems are coming from a concept that we call backfilling. This is when a player quits from a lobby or doesn't manage to connect to the lobby due to.
And we were talking about this earlier when we were ripping apart Scoot.
The lobby where you're seeing all the players before the game actually starts. In this case,
and sometimes I see the killer when they cheat.
Disconnect from there.
See who I am, and then take me to my worst map.
Prioritize speed. We're really focused on the fact that you've already waited through a matchmaking queue, and we want to get you in that game. So we prioritize speed there, but that really causes the balance to suffer. Especially
and then that's where you get your cases of somebody sitting in the corner and somehow still getting out because a 3-man Swift can still beat the killer.
happens to killer players. You can be a killer player who gets sucked into a game due to that speed criteria for those other 4 survivors, but whoops, now you're really far out of the skill range that match really should have called for. So that is something very, very specific that we're looking at improving right now.
Okay, very good. Another fucking Q&A wrapped up. All in all, this one was fucking boring as shit. I hope I turned it into something more fun, but actually sitting down and watching it was an absolutely horrendous fucking thing for me to do. I was pacing, I was jogging, jumping up and down, doing jumping jacks. This shit was awful. Very bad presentation. Death by Giggles was sorely missed for the eye candy, as well as just being better hosts than Peanitis is. All in all, Patrick killed it. Patrick smashed it out of the park. He ruined Scott Junn. What else do you want? This was a very good... This is objectively not the worst Q&A. I don't think it was as strong as the previous one because of the fact that we're still not getting the changes we want. These Q&As are good. We need to start seeing changes, though. I'm going to keep saying this. We need the changes. The Dead Hard change is going to make a lot of this feel a lot better, I think, if they actually nerf it significantly. They can talk all they want, but we got to start seeing some action. Okay? And right now, we're still not seeing as much action as I think we should be, partly to their slow fucking design process. Okay? So I'm getting the hell out of here. I rate this thing about a 6 out of 10. Terrible. Boring. Loses 2 points for being boring and loses 2 points where we need to see action. There you go. 6 out of 10. Patrick was wonderful. The man is the best fucking developer they have. They need to offer him a raise. They need to make sure he never leaves if they want this game to be good. All right, I'm getting the hell out of here, lads. About fucking time. G fucking G's. I'm going to have a drink. GG's, boys.